Well, good evening, everybody. It's good to be back. Sunday evening, kind of like an impromptu show, really. A couple of things happened today that I didn't expect at all to happen. Firstly, there was the issue with Martin's channel, and secondly, because I won't be doing any shows this week, so I will have a week off, I think at least until Friday. Brian got in touch with me and told me that his presentation was ready and he was ready to go, so rather than sit on it, he said he wanted to get it done and dusted and out of the way tonight. So here we are. We are joined right now by Martin Liedtke. Good evening, Martin.
Hiya, Ranty. Good evening, brother.
How are you? Well, tell it as it is, mate. Tell it as it is.
Right. Well, how do I feel? I'm trying to analyse that. I don't feel too down, but like the fact still remains that I've just lost everything and have to go back to square one again. But that's not the first time in my life, and I'm not going to let it beat me, Ranty. I don't feel that in the slightest. Don't feel any, angst or any problems with it. I just see it as part and parcel of what I've been up to. This truth is like a criminal offence at the moment, and I've discussed today. I think it's actually, truth is not going to be allowed soon. It's almost a crime, to be honest. So I will forge ahead. I woke up this morning, basically, and my other two channels, my Flat Earth British, and a backup channel I made 2 days ago, which was getting up to 1,000 subs. I was going to put all my, my multiple videos on. They basically blocked me from both of them, so the email was compromised and hacked as well. So I set up, like you suggested, and that worked. A new email address and a new channel, which is Martin Liedtke, and that's up and running. I put a little statement on there earlier, let people know what I'm up to, try and get words out again, and try and rally the people back to the channel and start over. And I just basically I can only do 15-minute videos for now, but I'm going to do like really compressed juice videos, which I have ready anyway. So I don't know, it's the flip side to it all. I make the best of it, Ranty. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life, I'm sure you of that, but it's been a torrent of attacks one way or another for months on end with the level of truth that I've been basically putting out there. And the way I feel is, I don't think any of this would have happened if I hadn't been over the mark somewhere along the line and triggered them somewhere. Otherwise, I'd have been just left alone. You can talk about just about anything on YouTube. Aliens, agendas, any old rubbish, and it'll be perfectly acceptable. You can do that till the cows come home. But you give truth, real truth, about hidden history or the shape of this place or anything, really, they will close you down, as just been proved. I think it's good evidence for the way that this despotic state is basically, showing itself. It's definitely on top, okay? They've been sort of rallying us away from YouTube for a while. They've made it uncomfortable to use. They've introduced new studio, which is not really popular with anybody. I don't like it at all. You got to do one video at a time on comments, and you have to select them individually. The option to just go through them all is gone. It's just rubbish. They broke it. And they've broken a whole number of things with YouTube. They've made it unpopular, pretty much like they've done with the cash money. So the people will feel like moving. For some reason, maybe it's a BitChute. Okay, who owns that? The BitChute chain. Could it be YouTube? Who knows? But they're rallying people and they're making them uncomfortable on YouTube. In truth, the mainstream YouTube and the television angle is swimming along. All the rubbish, the X Factor and everything else is swimming along. So YouTube's going to be for that, I think. I think they're going to sort of try and get rid of the truth aspect from it. It's how it feels. So we'll do what we can. We'll plow ahead.
Yeah, so just a quick rundown of what actually transpired. So you got an email, and basically you filled in this email.
No, it started before then. Okay. It started before then. How I basically fell for it, I was baited. The day before, I had a comment, a real standout in the mind comment that was on my mind, saying that you are basically repeating the same information over and over, and you're basically spamming. I thought, whatever you do, you mean. No two videos are the same. So, but it stuck in my head because it was like quite threatening. It was really, not a nice comment. And then I get an email the next day saying, we have had a complaint saying that you've been spamming. So I made the natural connection, Ranty. I thought, well, that was that person in chat yesterday, in my comments yesterday. He's made a complaint. It's a few days off the convention. They're trying to close my channel down. Oh shit! I better get this sorted out. I didn't actually make the connection. You had to, you're not supposed to give me your password. I just made the connection with the bait that was put in my channel the day before. They cleverly did that.
So essentially, well, obviously people are aware of what actually happened with your channel. They started uploading the hundreds and thousands of videos, and obviously you had no control over that. The problem was that your second backup channel was also under the same email address as the original one. And although they didn't have access to that particular channel, when you contacted YouTube, it appears that what they've done now, because I checked this morning, so it probably happened last night or some point, is that they just removed every account associated with the email address. So they got rid of your original hacked channel, but they also, in doing so, they also got rid of your backup channel where you had 3,500 subscribers. That was what we were trying to promote to try and keep you afloat, kind of thing. So so that's all gone. And then this morning I was talking to you. You was a little bit upset, I have to say. And but we got some clarity with stuff, and I advised you to get a new email address, make a new YouTube channel. So you duly did that, and here it is. So it's up here now. So
Thanks.
Currently, within however many hours, is it 8 hours or something like that?
Yeah, I got a couple of hundred subs.
Yeah, you got a couple of hundred subscribers already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, and if anybody hasn't already subscribed, I would highly recommend you going over to Martin Liedtke's channel. I might play your video. Is that all right? If I just play the video. Yeah. Right, here we go. Then I'll play this video. Here we go.
Flat Earth British, Martin Liedtke speaking. Peace and love, truthers. I'm here to tell you about my new channel because I've lost all my others. Okay, my main channel, Flat Earth British, or Martin Liedtke, was hacked sometime a week ago and is now deleted, losing me all my subs, all my views, and not the data because we have all that saved. Okay, now I had a backup channel, Flat Earth British. Okay, and I made a second backup channel 2 days ago which picked up 1,000 subs, Martin Liedtke's Flat Earth British, for me to get my name back, or claim my name back, my corporate name. Anyway, to cut long story short, woke up this morning and I'm blocked from all of them permanently. Okay, so it's compromised and hacked that much, all of it. So I've had to set up a new email address, a new account, and start all over again, guys. And this is it. This is where we're going to be doing it from now on. I'm only allowed 15-minute videos for a while, but they will be concentrated use. Okay, mind splattering videos. Okay, paradigm changing stuff. So make sure to subscribe to this channel. This is where we're going to be doing it from now on. Okay. Quitting is not an option, and neither is losing. Not when we know what we got up against us. Okay, peeps. Spread the word. I ain't going nowhere. Fuck 'em. Peace and love.
I like how you ended that. Fuck 'em. So so this is Martin's channel. Let's go back here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste the video. The link to this channel, your new channel, and if anybody hasn't already, if they would kindly go across and make a subscribe over there, that would be much appreciated by me and you, and your juice is worth it. Let me put it that way. Your juice is worth it.
You need to come back tomorrow. I've got a video to put up where I have found something, and it's going to be proved tomorrow, and it's quite an alarm call, and it made perfect sense, and the penny's going to drop with a lot of people. I was quite gobsmacked when I put the pieces together. I thought, this can't be true. And then the penny dropped, and I thought, oh, of course, that was what was going on. And I'll have to show you tomorrow. It's going to be a bit of a surprise, but it's going to take you further along, for sure. People who follow my channel will understand completely what I'm about to tell them.
Yeah, and I think these little 15-minute clippets, because people have a really poor attention span. If you check your analytics and you see how long people watch a video for, if you've got a 2-hour stream, they might watch 20 minutes, they might watch 30 minutes. The odd person will stay through to the whole lot and watch the whole lot. But people get things in their real life that they can't sit through for a full 2 hours. So these 15-minute little videos might just be a good way for people to get all the juice concentrated. They'll sit through 15 minutes. especially if it's good stuff, so it might work out. It might work out better for you, I think. Let's see. Well, we can only look on the positives,
Yeah, these 2-hour videos were, I didn't really feel comfortable because I knew people never had 2 hours of their day to sacrifice when they're going to work and family and everything. But the same token, I was doing it because it was trying to cover as much information as I possibly could for the think tank to just chew over, and I couldn't get that much information into a smaller vlog. So what's going to happen now is we'll just have to give them the bullet points, the links, and then everyone's going to have to jump on for themselves and do the rest themselves. I'll just make it obvious. I'll tell them, but I'll cut out the finer points. Because I usually do the story to go with it, you see, and explain how it's all happened. But we'll just have to cut that out. Just juice.
Just juice.
People want stuff. That's what they're going to have. Stuff.
I just want to talk a little bit about the Globe Live Tour for a moment. Simply because obviously this is the spreadsheet that we work off. I've removed all the links to it so nobody can edit that. But we have the Globe Live new dates, etc., where they're going, how many miles it is between each, who's going to be the drivers, etc. And if I scroll down to the bottom, what you will see a bunch of my name, Shane. So Shane here from Tuesday the 19th of November, where I'm going to fly out to Spain. So I'm going to fly to Valencia, probably on the Monday actually. I'll probably fly out on the Monday, meet up with the guys in Valencia, and then take over the driving of that. So I'll be doing the driving all the way from the 19th of November all the way up to the 3rd of December, all the way back to its finish basically. So I'll be doing these places. So Valencia, Barcelona, Andorra la Vella, Marseille, Monaco, Bern, Copenhagen, Oslo, Stockholm, Helsinki and London. So this is what I'll be doing around these dates. We also have Adam Meakin, who's going to be doing Venice, San Marino, Rome and Pisa. Obviously we've got Jason doing Athens and Tirana, etc., etc. So we've got lots of things in the pipeline. Now I have to stress that this is still a work in progress. So these dates, as they look right now, appear to be the dates that we're going to go for. We're going to try to get all the drivers filled in for the rest of these dates. But because obviously I'm taking a bunch of these to do, so it doesn't leave an awful lot to fill really, especially the amount of drivers that we do have in the pipeline. So fingers crossed this all works out. Fingers crossed these are the dates that we're going to stick to. There might be a little bit of juggling with the odd different country, going from a different country to a different country and etc. But this is a preliminary idea of what's going to happen, and the tour will be kicking off again after the convention. So happy days. That's the plan for the Globe Live Tour, and as I say, it's all very preliminary. But if this works out exactly as it is, I'll be doing these dates from 19th of November to the 3rd of December. So just keeping people informed, because a few people have asked me what's going to happen with the tour. The tour's been cancelled. The tour's this, that, and the other. Nothing of the sort. The tour still needs funds. Believe you me, it still needs funds to actually put petrol in the vans and to do all these distances involved. So there's still a few things to sort out. But essentially, this is what the plan is. So if we can get a few more funds going over to the Globe Live Tour, I'll put the link in the description after the video's finished in case anyone wants to donate. This will be the plan. So now that I've spoken about that, and I assume everyone's headed over to Martin's channel and subscribed. Let me just check. You did have 248. In fact, you had less than that. You had 232, I think, when I first met. Oh, look at that, 271. So you've definitely grabbed a few subscribers recently, so that's really good. Right, okay, so we are waiting on Brian.
I think he's there.
Is he here?
I think he's there.
Brian?
Yeah, I think so.
Brian, are you there, my friend? Say hello.
Hey, Randy. Hey, Martin.
Hey, Brian. Sorry, brother.
Thanks.
How's it going, Brian? We haven't spoken for a while.
No. I've been doing different things, so you've been busy with what you're doing, I'm busy with what I'm doing. I think your audience had enough of hearing me on your channel for a while anyway.
Yeah, you did a couple of presentations. It was excellent, actually. I think those presentations were really well received, actually. So I wouldn't knock yourself on that. I think people enjoyed listening to the amount of effort that you've put in. So, really good stuff. I've got a sun behind me. I took this image because it's going to be on sunsets. You're going to do a presentation on sunsets. Is that right?
Yeah, it's. I originally had a presentation on. It was going to be a part of a much bigger presentation, but it just got way too big, where there was too many factors involved. So this is going to be about sunrise speeds rather than sunset speeds. It's going to be sunrise speeds, and I'm going to have another presentation about sun speeds, about the sun and its speed. But I also have to factor in that one stuff to do with the different latitude lines on a flat Earth, and how it would all work different, how the latitude and longitude works different on a flat Earth, and how it's actually more made for a flat Earth originally, or based on flat, as opposed to based on a globe. But I won't go into all that now because that's a lot of parts connected to another presentation. But this one is going to be mainly about sunrise speeds between the Tropic of Cancer, the Equator, and Tropic of Capricorn.
Okay.
And there are going to be a few extras with that as well.
Okay, good stuff. Well, before we get into that, I'm just going to do another 5-10 minutes with Martin, then we'll get stuck into that. But I just want to say also that it looks like the back end of next week, maybe Friday, maybe the weekend, something like that, we're going to be having Bob the Science Guy on again. So he's going to be doing another presentation. I think it's something to do with the tower that Tony puts out with his Sleeping Warrior thing. So I think he's going to try and do a different experiment or a similar experiment that comes up with a different result. So we'll see what he's actually got to say, and he will be taking questions, as I'm sure you'll be taking questions after you've done your presentation too there, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. So, have you met Martin before? Have you spoke to Martin before, Brian?
No, hello Martin, this is the first time. I'm Brian. No, I was subscribed to Martin's channel, right, the old one, so I'll have to subscribe later to the new one.
Yeah, I've known about Brian for quite some time, Randy.
Yeah, he's good, he's Brian. He's good.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us, Martin, so you've got a video coming out tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah, I just found that interesting what Brian was saying about the latitude lines. I picked up on that myself a couple of years ago, posted about the longitude-latitude problem and the shift in meridian, from, up to Greenwich at a certain point. And what I picked up on old maps, this was definitely put down for a flat Earth projections. I know this is the case. Yeah, definitely onto something there. There's a book out there. I haven't got it. I'm trying to borrow it. A friend of mine read it about the longitude-latitude problem, and they were going off flat projections. They were going off, not stating azimuthal equidistance, but definitely flat Earth. So yeah, you're definitely onto something there, Brian. So I hope you present that somewhere along the line. I'll be looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, hopefully I'll do that as soon as possible. Once kind of after next weekend. By next weekend, if I have it ready by next weekend, and I can go ahead then. Yeah, and it suits Ranty as well. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. I don't believe we're reading them correctly. I don't believe we're reading the latitude and longitude correctly when it comes to the globe. I believe it's some stuff is hidden, and when you read them different, then it suits a flat map much more.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, Ranty. Yeah, my post tomorrow. Okay. Now it's connected with a science called technasmia, which is a vibrational science that came from what they call churches in this day and age, but in the past we regard them as church machines or technasmia devices. Okay, pre-events, pre-cataclysm, pre-flood. So these machines had somatic windows. They had giant organs inside, and they would emanate a frequency 432, whatever frequency. What we thought was for the benefit of people, plants, animals. Plants were growing bigger, trees were doing better, people seemed to be a lot bigger. Could have been this technasmia device. Well, I found something connected with technasmia today. I made a few connections, and I'll give everyone a little wadam concerning that tomorrow, of what I think was going on, what I know now was going on.
Good stuff.
Really,
good stuff.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing thing about it. Oh,
I
God.
just want to sort of hype up a future presentation that will be happening soon. So I've been contacted by a pilot who is actually an active airline pilot who flies commercially all around the world, and he's retiring soon, so very soon. But the problem, well, I say the problem is, the good thing for the Globers here is that he's actually a believer in the globe Earth, which, you know, we don't normally get a pilot coming on who will say that the Earth is a globe. So he's going to be doing a couple of presentations, one on the sun and one on the real world Coriolis effects. So in his opinion, he can put a video together, or he can put a presentation together with his years of experience as being an airline pilot that can explain how Coriolis force works and gives rise to this Coriolis effect. So that's a future presentation down the line, hopefully within the next 6 weeks, because I know when he's going to retire. He's given me all his details. He's the real deal. So Globers, you can look forward to that. Whether it'll stand up to any kind of scrutiny or not is yet to be seen. If you've seen Globebusters tonight, they did a presentation on Coriolis force and effects. You know, Nathan's been going on about it too. We're all acutely aware of the issues with that. But on the other side of the coin, we've got George Netanyahu and other people saying different. So let's see what this presentation brings in the future. That's something to look forward to. So, Martin, thanks for joining, mate. I have to say thank you very much for joining. But what we're going to do now, we're going to do a presentation with Brian.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, excellent. Do you want to stay on the call, or do you want to just watch
No,
it?
I'll go into the chat. I've got a couple of things I want to put the kettle on anyway. So yeah, I'll just enjoy Brian's presentation, I think, with the rest of the guys.
Okay.
So thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that, Ranty. It was really kind. Thanks.
No worries at all, mate. And I wish you all the best with your channel. I hope you get things exactly where you need it to be. And yeah, keep fighting the good fight, mate. Cheers.
Oh, will do. Never
Me
give
too.
up.
Best of luck, Martin, with that.
All right, thank you, Brian. God bless, bruv. Peace and love.
Take it easy.
Okay.
Bye.
See you in a bit. Right. Okay. So, Brian, let me know when you're presenting, and we'll get you up and running and introduced to the audience, and your presentation will be ready to go, I'm sure.
I just start screen share now. Can you hear me pretty good? Is the volume, is the audio okay?
Yeah, audio's coming through fine.
Okay, I start screen sharing now, if that's okay with you.
Perfect, yeah. Fire away.
Okay. Let me know when you have me. I should be here now, yeah?
Yep, I can see you perfectly. Right, so I'm going to introduce this. This is round table 25. This is Sunrise and Sunspeed by Brian's Logic. He's done a couple of presentations before, and yeah, you can drop that Skype box down if you want.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, there we go. And then we can...
1 second now. I just put up this one. No, let's start on it.
Perfect. Right, okay, so I'll put you on now. I'll go on mute, and the floor will be yours.
Just before you do, Randy,
Yeah.
I decided to do this one live, so it might have a little bit more flow to it than the other two, because I end up having to record the other ones I did late at night when I'm kind of tired. Whereas with this one, it's more free flowing. So if you have anything that you want to say while I'm doing it, you're welcome to come in and say it's your channel. You're welcome to come in and ask me anything or say anything you want, and I'll answer any questions anyone has afterwards.
Okay. I'll keep it as normal though. I'll just let you do your presentation, I think. Keep it as the normal flow. You just go through everything you need to do. If anybody's got any questions, obviously I'll try and capture them, put them on on Notepad, and then I'll try and ask them in the order that they came in. If I miss anybody, I do apologise. But in the meantime, Brian, take it away.
Okay, Randy, on the ball. Take care. Okay. So I'm going to start with the Tropic of Cancer. This is about sunrise speeds across the Tropic of Cancer, the Equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, each one of these has a flight time part in it at the start. You can ignore that. That was just something I put in. I was kind of going two directions with it, and I went just stuck with one direction after that. So these parts, each one, the Tropic of Cancer, the Equator, and Tropic of Capricorn, has that part in it, but it's not that. This section here doesn't really have any connection to the rest of it. Okay. Okay, the sunrise speed. I used my problem. Some problems I had was finding two places that I could get good data on the Tropic of Cancer, the Equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn. The Tropic of Cancer and the Equator weren't a big deal. I could do that. The Tropic of Capricorn, I had to get a place. I had to get a place in Brazil and in Paraguay, and they're slightly south. Slightly south of the Tropic of Capricorn, supposedly, but the Tropic of Capricorn moves. That's another issue. That's according to the globe, but that's another issue. But they are basically on the Tropic of Capricorn. So the sunrise speed they would get would be pretty much exactly the same as the Tropic of Capricorn, but they're just barely underneath because of the Tropic of Capricorn goes through so much ocean and so little land. There was no two places I could get that were let's just say well known enough to get consistent data on those places. So, but yeah, you see what I mean as I go on. Okay, for the Tropic of Cancer, I used Medina and Riyadh. Okay, the two cities of Medina and Riyadh. Okay, the distance in air miles between the two places is 447 miles. For each section, the Tropic of Cancer, Equator, and Tropic of Capricorn, for these three sections, I'm going to have to do a lot of talking about different figures and facts and figures and calculations for the first while of this presentation. But after that, there'll be a little bit more flow to it. But it's important that I spell all this stuff out. Okay, there's 447 air miles between Medina and Riyadh. So on the 21st of June, which is the June solstice, sunrise in Medina is at 5:34, and sunrise in Riyadh on the June solstice is 5:05. So there's 29 minutes difference, and there's no time zone difference between the two. So 447 air miles divided by 29 minutes is 15.413. So 15.413 miles a minute multiplied by 60 is 924.824. Okay. So sunrise speed on the 21st of June solstice between those two places, Medina and Riyadh, is 924.824 miles per hour. So on the December solstice, sunrise speed in Medina is 7:01 a.m. and in Riyadh it's on the same day on this December solstice is 6:33 a.m. There's 28 minutes difference, no time zone difference again. So 447 air miles divided by 28 minutes is 15.964. That's 15.964 miles a minute multiplied by 60 is 954.857. So sunrise speed on the 21st of December is 957.857 miles per hour. The sunrise speed in Medina on the 23rd of September equinox is at 6:11 in the morning, and in Riyadh it's at 5:42 in the morning. Okay, on the equinox in September, there's a 29-minute difference, no time zone difference again. 447 miles divided by 29 minutes is 15.413. So 15.413 miles a minute multiplied by 60 is 924.824. So sunrise speed is 924.824 miles a minute, miles per hour. And in the March equinox, sunrise in Medina is 6:24 a.m. and in Riyadh is 5:56 a.m. So that's a 28-minute difference, and 447 miles divided by 28 minutes and through multiply them by 60 is 957.857. So sunrise speed on the March equinox is 957.857 miles per hour. So there was a sunrise speed between Medina and Riyadh on the June solstice of 924 miles per hour, and between Medina and Riyadh on the December solstice of 957 miles per hour. And the sunrise speed on the September equinox is 924 miles per hour, same as the June solstice. And the sunrise speed on the March equinox is 957 miles per hour, the same as the December solstice. So the June and September solar dates, the June solstice and the September equinox have the same sunrise speed between those two cities across the Tropic of Cancer, and the December solstice and March equinox have the same sunrise speed between those two places between Medina and Riyadh across the Tropic of Cancer. So this tells us that on these 4 important solar dates across the Tropic of Cancer, that the June solstice and September equinox holds the same sunrise speed, and the December solstice and March equinox holds the same sunrise speed. This also tells us that the June and September solar dates are showing a slower sunrise rate of 33 miles per hour, and the December and March solar dates are showing a faster sunrise rate of 33 miles per hour. Okay, now the equator. So I used Libreville and Nairobi. Distance in air miles is 1,896. So flight time, sorry, the Moida part, that's flight time. So sunrise speed in, I'm just going to move this little box here. So sunrise speed in Libreville on the 21st, on the March equinox is 6:26 a.m. In Nairobi, it's on the March equinox is 6:37. That's 11 minutes difference, but it has a 2-hour difference in time difference. So 1,896 air miles divided by 2 hour 11 minutes is 14.473 divided by 3, or multiplied by 60, sorry, is 868 miles per hour. So sunrise speed between Nairobi and Libreville across the equator on the March equinox is 868.39 miles per hour. On the September equinox, the sunrise is at 6:11 in the morning in Libreville, and Nairobi is 6:22, which is another 11 minutes. Okay, so plus you have to add the 2-hour time difference, so it's 2 hours and 11 minutes later. The sunrise between the two places. So 1,896 air miles divided by 2 hours and 11 minutes is that, which would be what I'm doing there, is I have obviously 2 hours is 120 minutes, and add the 11 is that'd be 131 minutes. So that's how I divided it, in case anyone wants to know. That's 14.473, and you multiply that by 60 is 868.39. Okay, the sunrise speed on the September equinox is 868.39 miles per hour. Okay. Sunrise in Libreville on a June solstice across the equator is 6:20 in the morning, and in Nairobi on the June solstice is 6:33 a.m. That's 13 minutes, so it's 2 hours and 13 minutes. So I did the same calculation there. Obviously, I divided and then multiplied for 855.338 miles per hour. Okay, and then in the December solstice across the equator, sunrise speed in Libreville sunrise in Libreville is 6:17 in the morning, and in Nairobi is 6:25. So that's 8 minutes difference, but you have to have the 2-hour difference of time. So once I went through the whole calculations again, it came out at 888.25 miles per hour. That's the sunrise speed from one place to the other. So there was a sunrise speed between Libreville and Nairobi on the 21st of June solstice of 855 miles per hour. Between Libreville and Nairobi on the December solstice of 888 miles per hour. There was a sunrise speed in Libreville and Nairobi on the 21st between those two places on the March equinox of 868 miles per hour, and on the September equinox it's 868 miles per hour as well. So this tells us that on them 4 important solar dates across the equator line, that both the equinoxes in September and March have the same sunrise speed of 868 miles per hour. But the two opposing solstices in June and December have different respective sunrise speeds. With the June solstice having a speed of 855 miles per hour, and the December solstice having a speed of 888 miles per hour. So the June solstice and September equinoxes combined sunrise speed is 1723, and the December solstice and March equinox combined sunrise speed is 1756. This means that the June and September solar dates have a combined slower sunrise rate of 33 miles per hour, and the combined December and March solar dates have a faster sunrise speed of 33 miles per hour, as well as, so one is slower, one is faster by 33 miles per hour. Just to clarify on this, the reason I'm doing it that way is because that's the direction of the sun. It goes from June to September to December to March. So it's June solstice, September equinox, December solstice, and then March equinox. So that's why I'm going like anti-clockwise. So on the Tropic of Capricorn, I use Curitiba and Assunción. Okay, Curitiba in Brazil and Assunción in Paraguay. So the distance in air miles is 522 miles. So sunrise speed in Curitiba on the 24th of December is sunrise time is 5:23 in the morning, and in Assumption it's 5:57 in the morning. That's 34 minutes, and there's an hour difference in time. So that's 1 hour and 34 minutes. Okay, so that's like 94 minutes basically. So I divided. So that's basically I divided that into the hour, into the distance, and it comes out, and multiply it by 60, it comes out at 333.191. Okay, that's 333.191 miles per hour. Sunrise in Curitiba on the 21st of June is 7:02, and in Assumption on the same date is 6:35. So that's 27 minutes plus the 1 hour difference. So that's that'd be 87 minutes. Okay, so that came out as 360 miles per hour. Okay, and so on the 21st of June, there's a 360 mile per hour sunrise speed. Now for the September equinox, I did the whole thing again. That's for Curitiba, 6:06 in the morning is the sunrise time, and for Assumption it's 5:39 in the morning. So that's a 27-minute difference with a 1 hour. So that would be 87 minutes. So that comes out as 360 again. Okay, on the September. And on the March equinox, it's 6:21 sunrise in Curitiba and 6:55 in Assumption. That's 34 minutes. It's 1 hour and 34 minutes. That'd be 94 minutes. That's 333.191. Okay, so miles per hour. Okay, so there was a sunrise speed between Assumption and Curitiba on 21st of June solstice of 360 miles an hour. There was a sunrise speed between Assumption and Curitiba on the 21st of December solstice of 333 miles per hour. There was a sunrise speed between Assumption and Curitiba on the 21st of March equinox of 333 miles per hour. And there was a sunrise speed between Assumption and Curitiba on the 23rd of September equinox of 360 miles per hour. So this tells us that the June solstice and September equinox have the same sunrise speed of 360 miles per hour, whereas the December solstice and March equinox have two differing sunrise speeds. If we calculate the combined sunrise speed of the June and September solar dates, we get a figure of 720. And if we combine the December and solar dates, we get a figure of 666. So that means that there was a September solar dates have a 54 miles per hour faster sunrise rate, and the December and March combined dates have a 54 miles per hour slower sunrise rate. Okay, at that time of year. So to conclude, the Tropic of Cancer shows a slower combined sunrise rate by 33 miles per hour on June the 21st and September the 23rd. The Tropic of Cancer shows a faster combined sunrise rate by 33 miles per hour on the 21st of December solstice and the 21st of March equinox. Okay, so there is a sunrise across the Tropic of Cancer slower by 33 miles per hour on the June solstice and September equinox, and it is faster by 33 miles per hour on the December solstice and March equinox. And on the sunrise speed across the equator is slower by 33 miles per hour on the June solstice and September equinox, and the sunrise speed across the equator is faster by 33 miles per hour on the December solstice and March equinox. Okay. And the sunrise speed across the Tropic of Capricorn is faster by 54 miles per hour on the June solstice and September equinox, and the sunrise speed across the Tropic of Capricorn is slower by 54 miles per hour on the December solstice and March equinox. Now, I know that was a lot of numbers and that to give, but I had to go through that just to give someone an idea of the data I'm after collecting, and so I could go through it slow, and people could go back over it and test anything. You're welcome to test or critique any part of that you wish to do. Just to get us up the water. Okay, so some conclusions on this. The first and probably most important thing that stands out here for me is the differing sunrise speeds across the respective tropics on the solstices. The June solstice is 924.827 miles per hour sunrise speed. The December solstice is 333.191 miles per hour sunrise speed. So if we subtract one from the other, we get 924.827 minus 333.191 equals 591.636 miles per hour of a difference. So how is it possible on what is supposed to be a spinning and tilted globe that there is two completely different sunrise speeds when the tilt and position of the supposed globe Earth in accordance with the sun is supposed to be identical on the two solstices? And moreover, it's supposed to be the Earth that's spinning in a full rotation every 24 hours. So how do these two solstices have very differing sunrise speeds, yet they are purported to be identical mirror opposites of each other? This does not fit a rotating Earth in any way, as there needs to be uniformity within the particular system. So I believe that this evidence is damning beyond repair for the globe system, but not the flat Earth. The reason it's not damning for the flat Earth is because of the flat Earth solar analemma. It states that at that very time of year, the sun is at its lowest place in the sky within the whole year. So that's at the December solstice. So its angle to the Earth is at its most tight on December 21st. So the sun's rays will be much more elongated than during its counterpart time of June the 21st, when the sun is at its highest in the sky. And its rays would be hitting the Earth at a different angle altogether. When the sun is at its highest in the sky, also on the 21st of December solstice, the sun is making its biggest circle of the Earth, so it's essentially coming from further away to light up places. Supporting this is the fact that the sunrise speed across the equator line at equinox is also slower than across the Tropic of Cancer on the June solstice, as the sunrise speed across the equator at equinox is 868.39 miles per hour, whereas the June solstice sunrise speed is 924.827 miles per hour. So there is a deficit of 56.437 miles per hour between these two important solar dates, with the June solstice being the fastest sunrise speed again. The angle wouldn't be too much when it comes to the equator, simply because the sun has not gone down low enough to create an angle that would cause the sun, the angle of the rays to the Earth, that would cause it to have a differing sunrise speed.
Could I just say something, Brian? Could you just slow it down just a tad? Is that all right? It's just that there's a lot of people in chat saying you're going too fast. So if you could just roll it back just a tad, that'd be great. Cheers. Carry on.
Okay, look, what I'll do is I'll go back to the top of just this part here, and I'll go through this part a little bit slower. So basically what I'm saying, because I know I'm going very fast, and I know I speak kind of fast, and my accent is not helping it either. Basically what I'm saying here is that the evidence shows from the data I collected that there is a massive difference in sunrise speed across on the Earth on the June solstice as opposed to December solstice. Now that can't be on a globe. If on a rotating globe that's supposed to rotate once in 24 hours to a full 360 degrees in 24 hours, how can it have on two identical important solar dates of the year, the two solstices, how can it have a differing sunrise speed of 591.636 miles per hour? That is just not possible on the globe. It's this part here. It's the difference in the sunrise speed. If people really want to know what's going on, that's the crux of the problem. The fact that there's such a difference, there's almost 600 miles per hour of a difference in the sunrise speeds across the Tropic of Cancer. Across the Tropic of Cancer on the June solstice, as opposed to across the Tropic of Capricorn on the December solstice, and that cannot happen on the globe. It just is not possible. There is no way of explaining that. In anything that Kepler put forward, there is no explanation as how you can have a faster sunrise speed at two identical times of the year. At any time of the year, there should be no faster sunrise speed or slower sunrise speed in accordance with the globe Earth, because the globe Earth is spinning 360 degrees every 24 hours. So it's just not possible for it to happen. It's not possible. That's basically what I'm saying. This is not possible. And I've gone over my data, and I can't come up with any different numbers. It's just not possible to happen on a globe. You know, as far as the globe, what they call the globe model goes, that's just not possible. And it also shows here when it goes from the equator sunrise speeds between the two places I picked in the equator. I calculated it all exactly the same way. The three places, the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn, they were all calculated in the same way. I didn't cut any corners or mess around.
Yeah, and just one thing, yeah. Brad. Yeah, we're happy for you to carry on reading your script. It's just the audience just asking you to just, as you're speaking, just not say it quite as fast. Is that okay?
Yeah, I will. I slow it down. I was trying to get through that part because it was such kind of facts and figures. It was going to be just kind of like, I just wanted to give the audience, show the people what it was I came up with, as opposed to just saying there's a final result and not showing them where it came from, kind of thing.
Okay.
But no, you're right. I'll do that.
Yeah. Carry on.
Okay. It's also shown from the Tropic of Cancer to the equator line that there's a slower sunrise speed of 56.437 miles per hour. Now, in the flat Earth analemma, that makes sense because the sun is still high enough in the sky to not have a huge difference in sunrise speeds there. But it's at its lowest in the sky at the December solstice. So that makes sense why the December solstice would have a completely different sunrise speed, but it makes no sense on the globe. So I can continue reading what I wrote. So once again, this makes no sense on the flat Earth. Once again, this makes sense on the flat Earth a lot more than on the globe in the globe system, as it makes no sense for the globe to have a slower sunrise rate at any part of the year, as in that belief the sun is not moving and the Earth is. How can a supposed planet that turns a full 360 degrees every 24 hours while being pointed towards the same sun all year long show a slower or faster sunrise rate? In the flat Earth explanation of the solar analemma, the sun is constantly changing its height and orbit speed and orbit circumference around us throughout the year. Kepler's second law of motion states that a planet makes an elliptical orbit around a star, but this orbit is offset, so the star is supposed to be off-center to the elliptical orbit of the planet. So at one time within its orbit, the planet is at its closest to the star, and at the opposite time within its orbit, the planet is at its furthest from the star. Now, to add to this, Kepler also asserted that when a planet is at its closest in orbit to a star, it will be moving at its fastest around the star. And when the planet is furthest from the star, it will be moving at its slowest around the star. The reason given for this is that supposedly, when the planet is close to the star, it is experiencing a stronger gravitational pull around the star, as the star is of a greater mass. Now, which in turn asserts Newtonian gravity, which is not the current explanation of gravity, as the current explanation of gravity is Einstein's theory of relativity, where large accumulations of matter cause a distortion like a dent in space-time, and this dent or distortion in turn creates a well around the matter. And this well is known as the curvature of space-time, the curvature of space and time. And gravity is asserted to be an effect of this well that surrounds the matter like a moat of water around a castle, causing everything around the castle to be affected by the castle. But the problem with this, the reason, just before I go further, the reason I'm going into this is because what will be asserted it can't really be asserted against what I put forward earlier. But what people on the globe side would know as the analemma basically comes from Johannes Kepler. So this is basically going to disprove Johannes Kepler in one way, but also kind of validate him in another way. But the problem with this is that gravity in this theory becomes personalized to the matter it surrounds. As in, anything outside this gravity well is not affected by the gravitational effect that the matter supposedly holds. Only the matter and those things existing within the matter's personalized space will be affected. As gravity is not a force in Einstein's theory of relativity, it's only an effect of this well around the matter that is caused by the accumulation of the matter distorting and bending what's known as space-time. To give a mental visual of space-time, imagine a massive flat sheet of high-density mercury, and the planets and stars are all like different size stainless steel spheres that are in this high-density mercury. And these steel spheres create a magnetic field around themselves that causes the mercury around them to push away from them. So the mercury moves around the steel spheres, keeping a distance from the edge of the spheres. Now, this magnetic field that is between the steel spheres and the mercury is only an effect caused by the fact that the sphere is in the mercury, and this effect creates a bending or distortion of the mercury, so all mercury avoids interaction with it. As a side note, mercury under the correct conditions avoids a magnetic field. So just so people know that. And all matter that is in and surrounds the immediate steel sphere is attracted to the sphere and repulsed by the mercury. Now, I feel I must say at this stage that in Einstein's theory of relativity, when space-time is mentioned, he is speaking about the bending of space and time. As in his theory, for a basic summary, everything in the vacuum of space is moving at a trajectory rate of 671 million miles an hour, the speed of light. But all time, through a vacuum, that is. But all time slows down, what Einstein called the dilation of time, the closer one got to the surface of a planet. So here on Earth, according to Albert Einstein, we are moving at a slow rate of time, but as one rises from the surface, the faster time's rate increases. One example of this that I read about was that if you take a water balloon to the top of a high tower and hold it for 3 seconds over the edge before dropping it, and it takes 3 seconds to reach the ground, then technically, in accordance with the theory of relativity, the water balloon actually traveled further through space-time in its trajectory during the 3 seconds that it was being held, as opposed to the 3 seconds that it took to fall to the ground, as it was technically falling into a slower and slower time rate as it fell to the ground below. Now, this might seem like it does not have a connection to my presentation on sunrise speeds, but I have a very good reason for explaining it. As Einstein's theory of relativity makes it not possible for a planet to move faster or slower in its orbit around a star, as gravity could not influence the situation, unless that planet fell into the gravity well that was created by the star. As gravity in Einstein's theory is not a force but an effect that is caused by the curvature of space and time. So gravity, caused by the curvature of space and time. So gravity has no bearing outside the personal well surrounding the planet or star. And in the heliocentric model of the universe, our local star, the Sun, is huge in comparison to the Earth. So if Earth was to fall into the well created by the Sun, firstly, it would have to be a lot more close than it ever is asserted to get to the Sun. And if it entered this well, made by the Sun's accumulated matter in space-time, it would never leave it, never. Now, some people might assert that the Sun's well spreads out and takes in all the planets, but for this to be true, in accordance with Einstein's theory, we would all be part of the Sun and not separate entities of it, as all matter would be drawn to it and all antimatter or anything that is not matter would be pushed away from it. As it's an effect like magnetism, not a force like nature, which seems to have a conscious element to it. And an effect just happens because of a series of events and is a two-dimensional thing more than a three-dimensional thing like a force would be described, as a force has a lot more complexity to it. So how could the Earth or any other planet or moon be in the Sun's gravity well and still exist? They couldn't, is the answer. So by Einstein's theory of relativity, all planets and moons in the heliocentric model of the universe have by fiat to be outside the Sun's well of space and time. So this theory of relativity by Albert Einstein debunks Johannes Kepler's assertion of a gravitational pull causing a planet to move faster or slower in its supposed orbit around a star, as the effect of gravity is localized to the matter it surrounds in Einstein's theory. Now, where did Kepler get his second law of motion from? What did he observe to come to this conclusion? This is important in what I'm talking about, in what I'm giving with the sunrise speeds, that I explain this part, because this is something that a lot of people on the globe side just don't have an answer for and don't want to listen to. The only star that Kepler had to study was the Sun, because he did not have the telescopic technology that is available today to come to that conclusion involving a star and supposed planet at a distance. He had the Earth he stood upon, a pre-assumption of a sphere Earth, a centralized Sun, and a well-documented through history solar analemma and supposed gravity. Using these four things, he created a fantastic story. But there's a problem here, a massive problem here. We're told he had gravity, but we'll read on and we'll see about that. Johannes Kepler was born in 1571. in Germany. Now, he was around 37 years of age before the first telescope ever turned up, which was in Holland in 1608, made by a man named Liedtke, supposedly. But Kepler is credited with having created his laws of motion between 1609 and 1619. So it's kind of vague as there is no date that can be pinned down there. Yet it is supposedly known that he was born on the 27th of December 1571. So that's very precise information there, but we can't find out the exact date that he came up with his laws of motion. Now, the big dilemma here is that Isaac Newton was not born until the 4th of January 1643. So if we are to take an average time between 1609 and 1619 for the supposed creation of Kepler's laws of motion, as their evidence is vague, we will get 1614. So we'll say 1614. So that's 29 years before Isaac Newton was even born. And his book and works, the Principia Mathematica, wasn't even published until 1687, some 73 years after Kepler published his laws of planetary motion, 116 years after Kepler was born. Now, it's said that Newton would have learned of and about Kepler's laws of motion, which makes sense, and that he took these laws of motion into account when formulating his own theories. That also is a possibility, as it makes a logical progression in the chain of events, if the chain of events can be believed. But wait, Kepler did not assert gravity into his laws of motion, planetary motion. Others did this afterwards, so Kepler didn't do that. And Isaac Newton did not assert gravity as being a proven force of attraction between two masses. He, as a matter of fact, wrote a letter to a philosopher of his time who was asserting that Newton was saying that gravity was a force of attraction between two masses of differing sizes. To quote part of the letter, I'll quote, "It is inconceivable that inanimate, brute matter should, without the mediation of something else which is not material, operate upon and affect other matter without mutual contact." End quote. That's from Newton, from his part of the letter he wrote to the philosopher, who was saying that he was saying that there is a force between masses that attracts them, and he wasn't saying that. So Newton was not asserting that mass attracts mass. This was asserted many years later, 70 to be more exact, by people like Henry Cavendish and John Michel, not by Newton himself. So that means that we have people asserting a force of gravity where mass attracts mass into Johannes Kepler's laws of motion, and we have people asserting that Isaac Newton asserted that masses of differing sizes are somehow attracted to each other by a force of invisibility and unknown origin. Are we seeing the problem here? Basically, what I'm saying here is that other people are asserting these things into Johannes Kepler's laws of motion, planetary motion, and into Isaac Newton's theories on what a downward force or downward thing, an effect, whatever that is, that he was thinking he was seeing, whatever it was. People are asserting that he said this and that about it, when he didn't. He said he wasn't saying those things about it, and there's no mention whatsoever about Johannes Kepler saying anything about it, as it was Newton who originally, I can't say noticed the whole gravity thing, or what might be seen as gravity, as why things fall down. People surely asked that question before him, and there might have been people with answers before him. But every time the gravity comes up, people go straight back to Newton and then to Einstein. So Newton is kind of like a starting block. But Johannes Kepler was a good long time before Newton, so he did not insert any force of mass attracting mass into his theory of elliptical orbits and planetary motion and all this. He didn't do that. And Isaac Newton did not assert mass attracting mass. He didn't do that either. Other people asserted those things into both of those people, into Johannes Kepler's laws and into Isaac Newton's works. Both other people asserted things into their stuff. They didn't go and assert that themselves. Or I certainly can't find any evidence that they did. And I found evidence, as a lot we all have, with the letter to the philosopher that Isaac Newton sent, that he didn't assert that. He made a point of not asserting that. So to round back to where Kepler came up with his theory of planetary motion, we must look at the solar analemma, as that shows a change in the sun's position in the sky from month to month throughout the year, as it's time-lapsed in photos. It shows, if looked at from the northern hemisphere, a large symbol in the sky of the number 8, with the top loop of the 8 being smaller than the bottom loop of the 8, and the smaller top loop is pointed northwards, and the bigger bottom loop is pointed southwards, with the whole thing seemingly semi-vertical, as it shows the sun being at its highest in the sky around the June solstice and its lowest in the sky around the December solstice. So this means that the sun does change its position in our sky during the year, and part of the change shows it to change heights in the sky. There is even photographs from around the June and solstice and December solstice taken with solar filters to show an angular size change. Sorry about this nonsense. Angular size change of the sun from the June to December solstice. So I just got a quick sup of water before I can do one. Now it's going good. Now Kepler stood on the Earth and watched the sun's motions through the year. And while already being influenced by the Copernican model of a solar system, with the sun in the center and Earth as a globe, and the other planets orbiting it in circles, what Kepler saw as he watched the sun's movements was a sun that was rising and lowering its position in the sky, and it was changing its speed and rate of orbit around us throughout the year. This was a big problem all of a sudden for Kepler, as previous to this, the sun was believed to be orbiting us, something that Kepler previously would have accepted as he was an assistant of Tycho Brahe, who was a believer in the Earth as a globe, being in the center with the sun, moon and stars circling us, as opposed to us circling the sun or anything else. So for Kepler to take his newfound belief that we circle and orbit the sun, the movements of the sun that he was observing were causing him a major problem, as the sun did not have a uniformity to its movements that would allow for a planet or anything else to orbit it in a circle. So Kepler constructed an elliptical offset orbit of the sun, with the globe at a 23.5 degree tilt and the sun off-center to that orbit, creating a situation where the Earth as a globe, having to be 4,800,000 kilometers closer to the sun in the southern hemisphere summer, and 4,800,000 kilometers further from the sun in the northern hemisphere summer, something that the average layman and lady is not aware of. If they were, there would be a lot more than flat earthers asking questions of science. Basically, Kepler had to manipulate the Earth as a tilted globe to be orbiting the sun, and to do this, he had no choice but to comply with the solar analemma, as anything that did not comply with the solar analemma was going to be a bone of contention in the future. So he had no choice. Kepler had to comply with the solar analemma. He had no choice. He had to go for his belief in the Copernican model to go forward. He had to make an offset elliptical orbit. He had no choice in the matter. He had to do that, because anything that wouldn't fit with the solar analemma, because the solar analemma has been documented over centuries and millennia, and it's something that is very well known and can be documented at any year in our history, and it'll always show the same. So anything in his laws of motion that didn't, and his theories that didn't comply with that, it was going to be a big problem. As I said, a bone of contention in the future. Now, when people who follow science and know about Kepler's offset elliptical orbit of the sun are told that the sun moves at different speeds throughout the year in accordance with the solar analemma, they just don't believe it and call it preposterous, while completely forgetting that the Earth as a globe is supposed to be moving faster and slower in its orbit of the sun throughout the year. The Earth is asserted to basically be spending 6 months of the year gaining speed of orbit and 6 months of the year losing speed of orbit. And when these people are asked what did Kepler observe to make these deliberations, they just say the stars. They are not even able to be honest and say, I don't know. When asked for specifics, they don't have any. The rhetoric of the stars, he studied the stars, is replayed over and over. So how anybody can come to the conclusion that Johannes Kepler just saw some random star system, God knows how far away in the heliocentric model, and just equated it to ourselves and our world, and by pure coincidence happened to be correct in his assertion, is beyond me, to be honest. On some science websites, Kepler is asserted to have created his laws of planetary motion in 1609. The first telescope was not presented until 1609 in Holland, and it was not improved upon until 1610 or 1611 by Galileo, who supposedly had a telescope that was 10 to 20 times zoom, but I don't know if this is properly confirmed. The most frustrating part about this is that when these people are presented with the fact that it was the sun and its movements that Kepler observed to create his laws of planetary motion, that the people who don't have an answer when asked for one have the neck and gall to say that someone is wrong to assert that, without ever learning about the solar analemma. The sun moves faster across the sky during the southern summer and is also at its lowest in the sky. And it moves slower across the sky during the northern summer and is also at its highest in the sky. These things are not made up. These are the observations that Kepler made to create his vision of us on a sphere orbiting the sun. He had to observe the sun, as he could not have seen this anywhere else in the sky. Why would he have looked elsewhere? Why would he have looked elsewhere? When it was us orbiting the sun, he was trying to formulate in the first place. So why would he have looked elsewhere if it was supposed to be us orbiting the sun that he was trying to formulate? Why would he have looked anywhere but the sun? Why would he have not studied the sun? I cannot understand why people do not get that. It's like he could not have studied something else. He didn't have the technological ability to do anything other than study the sun. They didn't have telescopes that were of really high power to look off out into space. And even if he wanted to look elsewhere, where could he have looked? Where would he have looked to see this anywhere else? Where else are these observations replicated in our sky? That's a big question. Where else are we seeing these observations of these offset elliptical orbits? And what would he have looked with? Telescopes were in their infancy in the second decade of the 16th century. So how could he have done this? How could he have gone and looked out into deep space and seen these things? He couldn't have. He could only have looked at the sun and solar analemma. That's what he did. People don't believe that the sun moves faster across the sky during the summertime, yet they don't bat an eyelid when told that the Earth is moving faster around the sun by thousands of miles an hour at the same exact time of year. Where did the observation come from to supposedly determine this? What do you think Kepler observed to create this story? The Earth cannot move faster or slower past the sun. And then, for people who want to argue that point, the Earth cannot be moving faster or slower past the sun, and then people to declare the sun is moving at the same speed all year round. It is not. It's changing its position in the sky and it's moving at different speeds. But it's reverse engineered into us moving around, not the sun. But the point of the matter is Kepler had no choice but to observe the sun when he was trying to create his laws of motions. He had to observe the sun, and he went with the Copernican belief that the sun was in the center and we were on a planet, a globe planet, and everything else was a globe planet, and we all went around this big globe, the sun. And because of what he saw in the sky with the solar analemma, he had no choice but to create an offset elliptical orbit. He had to do it. And a tilt of 23.5 degrees. He had no choice to do all that the way he did it, for the seasons to work, for everything to work. And even at that, he still has to have the Earth closer by 4,800,000 kilometers and further away by 4,800,000 kilometers twice a year. It's absolutely, once each time. It's absolutely crazy. But people believe those things, yet when you tell them the sun moves faster across the sky in the southern hemisphere in summer, they just go, no, that's crazy, the sun doesn't move faster. But they forget where that came from. That whole idea of Earth moving faster in its orbit comes from the sun being observed moving faster. And then people reversed it into, oh, we're moving faster past the sun. That's all it is. Very simple. So to conclude this section, the sun has a different and slower sunrise speed and rate as it moves from the Tropic of Cancer to the equator to the Tropic of Capricorn. There was no evidence that Johannes Kepler inserted gravity into his observations of the sky, yet there is evidence that others inserted this belief into his observations and fantasies. There is no evidence that Isaac Newton believed and asserted that gravity was a force of attraction between two masses of different differing sizes. Yet once again, there is evidence that he made a point of saying the opposite of this assertion, that he, Isaac Newton, did not want to have gravity ascribed to him, where there was this belief that a mass has an invisible and unknown attraction to another mass of a larger size due to the larger size mass having a bigger gravitational attraction, as if by magic. That there was evidence that other people after Isaac Newton's time asserted this nonsense about a force of gravity, and indirectly, in a very slimy way I must add, left it at Isaac Newton's doorstep when he was obviously not in a position to defend himself, as he was dead. Right? How could he say anything about it? He was dead. And due to Einstein's theory of general relativity, gravity was deemed just an effect caused by a large component of matter distorting space and time. That Einstein's theory of relativity debunks not just the Cavendish assertion of a gravitational force between masses, but his theory also debunks the assertion that a gravitational force pulls the Earth around the Sun and causes it to orbit faster in the southern summer and causes it to orbit slower in the northern summer due to an attractive force, as gravity, according to Einstein, is not a force, and gravity is totally localized to the immediate surrounding area of the accumulation of matter that caused the curvature in space and time, hence making Kepler's second law not possible. That Kepler had only number 7. That Kepler had only the sun and its movements through its yearly analemma to observe when making his supposed laws of planetary motion, and he had no option but to force an offset elliptical orbit of the sun. So his beliefs of a solar system created by the sun, centered by the sun, could come into being. He needed to do that to make that happen. Number 8. Sorry, I should have called it the numbers I was going through. So number 8, the fact that there is a differing and slowing sunrise speed and rate from the June solstice to December solstice debunks all these former assumptions and ideas, as it's impossible in any heliocentric or geocentric model for this to occur, but can be explained on a flat and motionless Earth, which we obviously reside upon. So my last point on this part of the presentation is that if it's true that the sunrise speed is that much different and not much slower between the two solstices, from the June to December solstice, then that debunks all of that. It debunks every part of everything to do with relativity, theory of relativity. It debunks Johannes Kepler. It debunks Isaac Newton. Not Isaac Newton, but the Cavendish experiment. All these things, they're all out the window because none of them can make sense, because they're all based around a 24-hour rotation of 360 degrees of a globe Earth. And that can't happen if there's two completely different sunrise speeds happening at two completely mirror image twin parts of the year. Because the December solstice is the exact twin of the June solstice. The difference in the globe model, the only difference is it's because the Earth is tilted with the south towards the sun, and so there cannot be a big difference like that. It's supposed to be a 24-hour rotation. We don't see a situation where we ever have a day that's longer or shorter because of rotation, from what we're told. Right? We don't see that. Right? So what I put forward earlier basically debunks all those ideas. None of them can be right. If the sunrise speeds are different, they cannot be right. It can't be. If the sunrise speeds are different, none of those are right. Albert Einstein is wrong. Isaac Newton was wrong. Johannes Kepler was wrong, right? And the Cavendish observation was wrong. All these things are wrong because they can't exist on an Earth where the sunrise speeds are two completely different speeds, and nearly a 600 miles an hour difference in speeds from between the two solstices from June to December. It can't happen. It's just not possible. Now, things for people to ponder upon. Just a few extra things I threw in before I go to the very end of this. Okay, and some of these things might seem like stupid questions, but they're not. If you think about them, they're not stupid. They might seem like a beginner's question, like someone who just came into flat Earth, who doesn't know what they're asking, but they're not stupid questions. So, things to ponder upon. The Tropic of Capricorn is supposed to be a moving latitude line with movements yearly. This is the thing. It's supposed to move around. The Tropic of Capricorn is supposed to be moving 15 meters north a year or something like that, or north and south, who knows. But it's some nonsense like that. So that's dodgy for a start. Okay. 2, the globe can't slow down or speed up its rotation. So it can't show a different sunrise speed at any time or in any scenario. It cannot show a different sunrise speed. It cannot do that. A two mirror image times of the year. It can't do that. Or at any time, because it's rotating at 24 hours, 360 degrees, 24 hours within 24 hours. So it can never show unless it's changing its rotation speed. There's all kinds of, how would you do that? You couldn't. 3, if the globe rotates once every 24 hours, then how can I, at 52 degrees north, have sunlight from 5 a.m. right to 11 p.m. on the June solstice, while only having light from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on the December solstice? This is not possible with a constant rotation every 24 hours and a tilt difference of only a few thousand kilometers. That's one of the questions I was talking about, where people might think it's a stupid question. It's not. It's not possible. If you look at it, it's not possible. The rotation speeds would have to change for that to be possible. How does the southern hemisphere, number 4, how does the southern hemisphere get light on the June solstice if there was a 24-hour sunlight in the Arctic Circle? How are they seeing the sun past the equator? How are they doing that? That's another one of those questions where people go, oh no, it's just in that, this and that, and they'll show you a diagram. No, if you look at it really, how is that happening? How are they getting sun past the equator on the June solstice if there's 24-hour sunlight in the Arctic? Number 5, we are told and shown that space-time is a flat plane, and we are in direct straight line with the sun. Yet the sun is always above us, regardless of the time of year, spring, summer, autumn, winter. The sun is always above us. Yes, we're supposed to be in a straight line to the sun, yet no matter what, it's always above our heads. It's always above us. No matter where you are on the earth or what time of year it is, the sun is always above you. So that does not work on a globe. It doesn't work with the heliocentric model. If you take what Kepler brought forward on all these things that are seen as the backbone of the globe, basically. None of that can't work. It wouldn't work. Number 6, how is the moon controlling the tides on Earth? When in accordance with Einstein's theory of general relativity, the moon's gravitational footprint is only in equality and alignment with its own gravity well. That well being created by the amount of space and time that the moon has disturbed and distorted, supposedly creating the effect of gravity on the moon, which would be a localized effect that would be insular to the moon itself and not a force outside of itself. So that's something people should think about. Basically, the theory of general relativity basically throws out the idea of the moon controlling the tides on the Earth. It can't do. That's not how gravity works in that situation. It's only an effect. If the moon, number 7, if the moon supposedly has, according to space.com, 81 times less matter than the Earth has, or to put it another way, the Earth has 81 times more matter than the moon, supposedly, then how can the moon have a supposed 1/6 of the Earth's gravitational effect when it is well of gravity? How can it have 1/6 of what the Earth was supposed to have of an effect when the matter on the moon is only 81 times? Is only one, that the Earth has 81 times more matter than the moon. How can that happen? So there's more contradictions that just don't work. They don't happen. They don't work. That might seem like a stupid question, but it's not. That is not a stupid question. How is that possible? It's not possible is the answer. Number 8, if sunrise speeds become slower from the northern summer to the southern summer, then what does that suggest? And what does that disprove? That's my last one on this section. If sunrise speeds become slower from the northern summer to the southern summer, then what does that suggest and what does that disprove? So if I am shown to be 100% correct with that, and I think that I am correct, then I really don't know how the globe is going to get out of that one. I really don't know. It'll probably be avoided or something. I don't know. But it's not possible on a globe. It's not possible to happen. And I went through all the data I got earlier. Anyone can go through that. Anyone can check it out. Anyone can check out all the sunrise speeds for those dates, the solstices and the equinoxes and all that. They can check all that out. It can go back over all of this. Everything is shown. Okay, I'm just going to take a sip of water and go on to the last part of this presentation. I know it's kind of long. This last part will be a bit different. Some people have not been... I'm bringing this in here now for a reason, because it's going to be parts of another presentation coming up. This will be something people are not used to. And people on the globe side might think this is stupid, but I'm going to tell them some things that will kind of shock them a bit. So a lot of them don't know. So I must get sorry. So now I must give a numerology demonstration for those who are viewing this presentation. So in numerology, there are some master numbers and numbers of importance. Those master numbers are 11, 22, and 33. And the numbers of importance are 3, 6, and 9. So 11, 22, and 33 are known as master numbers in numerology. And numbers of importance are 3, 6, and 9. Anyone who knows about mathematics and have messed around with mathematics in their life, more than just your general everyday mathematics in school, they would know that 3, 6, and 9 in particular. 9 is a very, very peculiar number. Very peculiar. When during calculation one comes to a master number, they do not change that. As in numerology basics, things are added together for a final result. So to give a demonstration of this, I'll just give a quick demonstration before I go on and use numerology. To give a demonstration of this, if we take a number, any number will do, let's say 22478. So what we do is we add the 2 and the 2, the 4 and the 7 and the 8. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We get 23. So we add 2 and 3, we get 5. So the numerological value of 22478 is 5. So every number from 1 to 9 in numerology has characteristics assigned to it. For instance, the number 6 is one of the things assigned to number 6 is freedom. Number 4 is about stability. Number 1 is about starting things and stuff like that. There's every number in numerology from 1 to 9 has characteristics assigned to it. There's loads of stuff online about it for anyone who wants to look. Okay. So the numerological value of 22478 is 5. Okay, so we'll do another one. We do 36592. So the numerological value of 36592, once all added together, it comes to 25, and then 2 plus 5 is 7. So it's 7. So now we'll show something that a lot of the ball community don't know about. Some famous people who are astrologers and numerologists are Tycho Brahe, Galileo Galilei, and Johannes Kepler, to name a few. There's 2 types of numerology. There's a Chaldean, I don't know which one is older than the other, but there's Chaldean and there's Pythagorean. Okay, Pythagorean and Chaldean. So to give people some small information, anyone who's an astrologer will also be a numerologist. Okay, because learning numerology is a much more basic skill to learn than astrology, but you have to know how to use numerology as well. But people who are numerologists won't always be astrologers, okay? But people who are like Johannes Kepler, Galileo Galilei, and Tycho Brahe were all astrologers and numerologists. And Pythagoras was a numerologist. I don't know, but they say he was an astronomer, but I think he would have been both an astrologer and an astronomer, because people in the old times learned astronomy through astrology. They learned astrology and they learned astronomy through that. And they learned mathematics, learning about numerology. Because not everyone learned them things. They didn't have a school where everyone learned. Only certain people got to learn those skills. Kind of a bit like being a blacksmith. Only certain people got to learn how to be a blacksmith. Only certain people got to learn how to do this or to do that. So in the old times and more ancient times, things like astrology and numerology were very revered skills to have. And people learned astronomy through astrology and mathematics through numerology. Okay, now I'm going to do some numerology here. So if we add the June solstice and September equinox sunrise speeds together, okay, over the Tropic of Cancer, we get these 2 numbers added together of 924.827 and 924.827, and we get 1849.654. If we add the December solstice and March equinox sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, we get 957.857 and 957.857, and we get 1915.714. Now we must subtract one from the other. Okay, so we subtract 1849.654 from 1915.716, and we get a figure of 66.06. Okay. Now, if we add the June solstice and September equinox sunrise speeds together, we get the sun is while the sun is over the equator line, we get 855.338 and 868.39, and that equals to 1723.728. And if we add the December solstice and March equinox sunrise speeds together, while the sun is over the equator line, we get 888.25 plus 868.39, which is 1756.64. So if we subtract one from the other, we get 33. Okay, So we got 66.06, we get 33, and then we come down for the next one. If we add the June solstice and September equinox sunrise speeds together, while the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn, we get 360 plus 360, which is 720. And if we add the December solstice and March equinox sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn, we get 333.191 and 333.191, which is 666.382. Now, if we subtract one from the other, we get 53.618. So now for the numerology bit. Okay, so now well, that's numerology too, but now for the finality of it. So we have 6606, we have 33, and we have 53.618. Okay, so we add all them together and we get 152.687. So now we add 152.867 and we get 29. 2 plus 9 reduces to master number 11. So we get master number 11 out of that, which is very strange. We should not, that will come up even just once. Okay, now we'll move on. If we add the June solstice and December solstice sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, so I'm just switching them around what I'm adding together while the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and Tropic of Capricorn. Okay, Simon was wondering. With Tropic of Cancer, we get 924.827 and 957.857, which is 1882.684. And if we add the September and March equinox sunrise speeds together, while the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, we get 924.827 and 957.857, which is 1882.684. Now, if we subtract one from the other, we get 182.684, 1882.684, which comes to 0. Okay, so then we move on to the equator. If we add the June solstice and December solstice sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the equator line, we get 855.338 and 888.25, which is 1743.588. And if we add the September equinox and March equinox sunrise speed together while the sun is over the equator line, we get 868.39 and 868.39, which is 1736.78. Now, if we subtract one from the other, we get 1743.588 and 1736.78, which is 6.808. Now, if we back down to the last one again, if we add the June solstice and the September solstice sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn, we get 360 plus 331.161, and equals to 693.191. And if we add the September equinox and March equinox sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn, we get 360 plus 333.191, which is 693.191. So if we subtract one from the other, they're both the same number, so that comes to 0. So we're left with 6.808. Now if we add these numbers together, so we add 6.808 together and we get 22. So that brought us to master number 22. So we have master number 11 and master number 22 by adding together different sunrise speeds over the different Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and Tropic of Capricorn, using sunrise speeds taken from those dates. So it's very strange that we would get 11 and 22. And now on to the last one. And I think you can all guess what we're going to get. If we add the June solstice and March equinox sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, we will get a combined speed of 1882.684. And if we add the December solstice and September equinox sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, we will get 1882.684. If we subtract one from the other, we get the 0 because they both add up to the same. So if we add the June solstice and March equinox sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the equator line, we get 855.338 and 868.39, which is 1723.728. Now, if we add the December solstice and September equinox sunrise speeds together while the sun is over the equator line, we get 888.25 and 868.39. That's 1756.64. Now, if we subtract one from the other, we get 33. Okay? So, and then at the end, we have the June solstice and March equinox speeds together while the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn. We get 693.191. and the September equinox, December solstice, September equinox sunrise speeds together, add them together while the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn. While the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn, we get 333.191 and 360. So that's 693.191. So we subtract one from the other, we get 0 again. So now we have all these numbers together. It's 0 plus 33 plus 0 is 33. So all reduces the master number 33. So using sunrise speeds from the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn, using the sunrise speeds that I got for those three, using the June solstice, September equinox, the December solstice, and the March equinox together, I was able through numerology to get 11, 22, and 33. Okay, the three master numbers. So that's very, very strange, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. As my next presentation will have stuff in it that will be very, very strange concerning numerology and the sun and our Earth. So that pretty much concludes it, I think. That last bit there, people probably would kind of go over a lot of people's heads. The 11, 22, and 33, numerology master numbers and things like that. They wouldn't see the importance of these things, but these things are not a coincidence. You don't get to 11, 22, and 33 by coincidence. And I'm not saying that some person did this, some evil person got together in a big group like the Freemasons or whatever nonsense and did that. That is sunrise speeds. They have no power over anything like that. That is something else. There is something else that gave us the 11, 22, and 33 while using the sunrise speeds at those four important solar dates going over the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and Tropic of Capricorn. So that's not I'm not asserting Freemasonry or any other nonsense are involved in this. This is different. This is something else. Whatever the sun is, whoever created it, whatever is going on, it speeds on those four important solar dates at those 3 times of the year. Going over the 3 Tropic of Cancer, equator, and Tropic of Capricorn. Whoever is in charge of this place, they are the master. They are the master of numerology, because that's only, as I said, the tip of the iceberg of other things I've found out. That for things to work out that well, numerologically is I don't know what the chances of that would be. I don't really know. That really cemented it for me. For other people, this might seem like nonsense. For other people. Some of the globe side at the moment might see that as just nonsense because they don't really, most of them that I know of don't look into things like that. But this is not conspiracy. This is not me making it up. This is real. These are all the figures there. Anyone can go and do that and they'll come to the same 11, 22 and 33. The 3 master numbers, 11 and 22 make 33. 33 minus 11 makes 22. 33 minus 11 makes 22. So they all work together. And they're all connected to the number 9, but I'll go into that at a different time. So that's the end of the presentation. I know it was long. I know I had to go through a lot of stuff, and I talked a bit fast. It's just because I had to go through so many things. So, Randy, are you there, or what's going on?
Well, yeah, of course I'm still here. Thank you for the presentation. That was an awful lot of data that you put in there. I mean, I'm sure that people will go through it over the next few days and see whether you're accurate or not, but I have to commend you for the amount of work that you've put in. It must have taken you quite a while to do that.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, it is. I've been telling, for the audience to know, I've been telling Ranty I have a presentation coming for I don't know how long, and it just what it was is that this is only one part of something that takes several parts, basically, because I got so much stuff together, and I ended up going off into too many routes, and there was too much stuff happening at one time, and I just wasn't able to fit it all in. I'd be here for talking for 5 hours. Nobody be left in the chat at that stage.
No, but I mean, seriously, the amount of stuff that you put in. I mean, like I say, I'm just taking it on face value and just going, my mouth's like, oh, okay. Just excellent work. What can I say? I mean, you've done a tremendous presentation there. Thank you very much. Right, so
Thanks, Matty.
We just had a quick super chat from Christopher Lees, £1.99, who says simply 8, 32, 72, 128 question mark.
Where is that? I'm after going through so many things there, so I don't know.
I'm not too sure.
He'd have to point it out. I don't know, because 822, 123, 128, is it? Question mark? I'm not sure.
So if you scroll back up to the very top of your presentation, the very, very top where you had all the... Because somebody's just put into the chat, Charlie, he says the amount of work, question mark, it's just addition and subtraction. I don't think he even multiplied anything, but if you go back to the very start of your presentation, you go through all the different sunrise times in different locations. I mean, this is the data that we're talking about. I mean, it's absolutely exceptional, the amount of work that you've put in. As to its accuracy, again, I don't know for sure, but from what
I understand that.
I can just take you at your word and say that from what you've done, you've put an awful lot of work into this presentation, so I'm sure that everybody was listening who has followed from the start will have to agree that you have put an awful lot of work into it. Right, I've got some questions.
Your man saying, that guy there saying, adding and subtracting, what work is that? It's the amount of work I had to put into actually going and finding out all this data. The adding and subtracting thing doesn't seem like much, but when you're trying to go through so many different pieces of data and trying to find out information, that's the work. I mean, if he thinks he can do it better, then off you go, and I'll be in the chat asking him questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him to do a presentation, or anybody to do a presentation, actually. Bob the Science Guy will be doing one at the back end of this following week coming. So he's already got one. I've got a guy who's a pilot who will be doing a presentation too. So I'm still looking for more people to do more presentations. Flat Earth, Globe Earth, or even concave. Email me, ranty@rantyflatearth.com. That's what Brian did. That's how he first got on the show, and I think this is your third or maybe even your fourth presentation. But
third, I think it is.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some of these questions then. So okay, so we have way back. So this is throughout the chat. I've been copying and pasting into Notepad. So from Crow XE. Now you know Crow XE because you had the back and forth of the solar analemma with him. Important question in capital letters. Ask him on what basis he chose the cities. I know Medina and Riyadh are not on the same latitude.
I chose the cities because I needed cities that I could get good data and information about. Because there were some places that I couldn't get the data, let's say, consistently for. And I wanted cities that I like. If I went to get another, the two cities, Medina and Riyadh, to get to another city outside of one of those, I would have had to go at a distance or maybe go to a different country or whatever nonsense. So I just chose those two because they were very close to the Tropic of Cancer. That's basically it.
Okay, just 1 second. I'm just copying this last.
Because I have no hassle getting data for those two. And what he said, they're not on the same latitude, is what he's saying, is it?
That's what he says. Medina and Riyadh.
Okay, well, I was pretty sure they were on the same latitude, but it doesn't matter because they're close to the Tropic of Cancer. That's all that matters.
Okay, so from Joe Kovacs, can you ask Brian to just go through one scenario slowly? It's pretty much impossible to unpack all of those numbers. So if you want to pick one of those scenarios that you've got up there, just go through it slowly and just sort of like go from A to Z about how you actually came to your conclusions, please.
Yeah, I will. So I just use this one here. It's right on the screen. So I got the sunrise time in Medina for the 21st of June, which is the June solstice, and that is at 5:34 in the morning. And then I got the Riyadh, the sunrise just the sunrise in Riyadh on the same day, on the 21st of June solstice, and that's at 5:05 in the morning. So what I did was that there's a 29-minute difference in their. There's no time zone difference for them two. Them two are on the same, are within the same time zone. So there's no hour longer or 2 hours longer for either place. So there's just a 29. So basically 29 minutes after 29 minutes after the sun rises in Riyadh, it'll rise in Medina. That's basically it. So that's where the 29 minutes comes from. So 29 minutes later, the sun will be rising in Medina on the 21st of June on the solstice. 29 minutes after it rose in Riyadh. That's basically it. And what I did then was, there's a 447 air mile distance between them. So what I did was I took the 29 minutes and I divided 447 air miles by 29 minutes, and I got 15.413. So 15.413 miles a minute. So that would be 15.413 miles a minute. So I just put 29 into 447. That's all I had to do. And so 29 goes into 447, 15.413 times. So that I knew then that was every minute that the sun rise speed was going at 15.413 miles a minute. So all I had to do was multiply that by 60 minutes. So multiply that by 60, and I came to 924.824 miles per hour. So that's just one little section how I did that, and that's how I got let's say 924.827 miles per hour.
Okay, that's pretty conclusive. So if we go to the Adam Meakin, who put another question in, are the differential altitudes of the cities taken into consideration with regards to the altitude effect on time of sunrise and set?
No, that's not. No. And I didn't go into that simply because the sun basically is overhead. So it would be coming from whatever angle. I'm sure altitude would affect it somewhat. I don't know if it would make up for the almost 600 miles per hour difference between the two solstices, but it would affect it. It would affect it up to a point. But I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So rather than adding anything else. But it's a very good question, Adam put in.
Yeah, I think it is too. But just so that people know, if they're asking a question now, it's probably going to take a little while for me to get through it because there are a bunch of other questions already lined up. So if you are asking a question like Gleam's just asked one, it could be a few minutes before I get to that. So Roger MC, can you ask him what sunrise speed is?
Sunrise speed is basically the time it took, basically the speed of the sun across the earth. Basically, sunrise speed is the speed of the earth of the sunrise across the earth. So it's the speed that the sun took to get. It's the time that the sun took to get from one place to another on a particular date over a particular place. So I use this again on the 21st of June solstice. There was a sunrise speed of 924.824 miles per hour between Medina and Riyadh. So for the sun to go from Riyadh to Medina, when the sun rays or whatever, sunrise was happening between Riyadh and Medina, it was the sunrise speed was 924.827. Maybe calling it a sunrise speed is not the best word for it. It just became the easiest term for it. So that is what a sunrise speed is. It's basically when the sun is rising in one place as opposed to another, and how much the distance between those places, and how long it took for the sun to rise in those places, respectively. Basically, does that answer it, or should I give a better one?
Yeah, I mean, just to condense it, it's just the time it's taken for you to see the sun when it first raises its head in Riyadh. And then the same time that it raises its head in Medina. So, and there's a difference between each. So that's pretty easy to figure out. So Toady UK, now pin your ears back for this one. If we just Google this, you get the answer. Earth orbit is elliptical, and with the tilt, the sun takes different paths across the sky. This means different speeds each day. Now I know you addressed that, but if you want to try it again.
Yeah, well, see, so this means there's a different speed of the sun each day. That's what he's saying. This is sunrise speeds, though. This is not sun speed.
I think what he's trying to say is that the Earth's orbit is elliptical, And with the tilt, the sun takes different paths across the sky. So what he's saying is that the tilt with its elliptical orbit is what's giving you the difference. Would you know? I mean, I know that you disagree with that, with the difference between the actual distance in tilt that it would take.
No, see, the problem with that is what he's talking about there is the solar analemma. And I already explained the solar analemma on a flat out in my first presentation on your channel. What he's talking about there is the sun through the sky is different from basically week to week, day to day. It's moving. That's just the solar analemma. This is different. How does the sun rise on supposedly? How does the sun supposedly rise on the globe? It rises through the rotation of the globe. So it's not about where the sun is in the sky. It's about the rotation of the globe. And if Tony, I understood maybe there were some things that Tony maybe couldn't listen to in it because I was talking so much. But on the June solstice and December solstice, they're according to if you go by what the globe belief says, they're absolute mirrors of each other. So there is no way, with exception of the only difference between those two solar dates on the globe is that in the December solstice, the Earth is a bit closer to the Sun by 4,800,000 kilometers in that belief, and it's a bit further away in the June solstice by 4,800,000 kilometers in that belief. But that has nothing to do with Earth rotation. That's orbit, and that's to do with arguments to do with orbit, which I actually put forward in this. But that's orbit stuff. That has nothing to do with Earth rotation. The Earth is supposed to rotate in that belief 360 degrees an hour, 360 degrees every 24 hours. And so the sunrise speeds could only be affected by the turn of the supposed rotation of the supposed globe Earth. And that's the problem. How can a globe Earth have such differences in the sunrise speeds when the sun is supposed to rise due to the Earth turning? Do you understand?
Yeah, we have a comment from Daniel Leather who says elliptical orbits produce acceleration we should feel.
Yes, we should feel. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Go on.
Right, go on.
Right,
I was just saying what I put forward. Sorry, just before we go on, what I put forward in there concerning Einstein's theory of relativity and how that debunks Kepler's laws of motion, and also how the tie together of Kepler's laws of motion and Newtonian gravity is debunked as well by Einstein's theory of relativity, and how it's like what I put in there in between all there about Kepler and Newton and Einstein was all because of this. Some of the questions I'm getting, people didn't really hear some of those parts, I don't think. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
So we have a statement from Toady UK who says Kepler studied under Tycho Brahe in his observatory in 1600, so they absolutely had telescopes in 1600.
Well, if Tony wants to look into when the first telescopes turned up, the very first telescope that was basically put out there was by a guy called, supposedly a Dutchman named Lippershey. Okay, Lippershey supposedly where telescopes came from was what's known as a Dutch eyeglass. I lived in Holland myself when I was younger for a few months, and Holland, I travelled around Holland and I worked in countryside areas and that. Holland is a very flat place. It's very, very flat country. It's actually below sea level, a lot of it, I think, or something like that. But and obviously Arwen would attest to that. That's why people cycle bikes so much in Holland, because there's not a load of hills. It's easy to cycle bikes around. They have a big bike cycling culture in Holland, because they don't have hills and all that to deal with like we have in our, let's say here or in the UK. They don't have all the hills. So the Dutch eyeglasses were something that people were using that you could see big distances with in Holland, and they allowed them to see at a distance. And that then got turned into a telescope. And if he looks into it, it was 1609 before a telescope before the telescope actually, because he's saying 1600. Yeah, but it's 1609 before the first proper telescope supposedly turned up. And that was a guy called Lippershey and another man in Holland who both bought them out at the same time, but they went with Lippershey's kind of design or something. I can't remember the full details of it. But it was in 1610, it was Galileo that supposedly improved on it. Now that's Galileo was a bit dodgy, but supposedly improved on it. So yes, they had telescopes or something, but Galileo's supposed brilliant telescope in 1610, 1611 was like 10 to 20 zoom, supposedly. I can't guarantee that, but that's what they say. That's the information I could find.
Okay.
And
so
the problem with that is there was nothing as good. You think about your P1000, that's 125 zoom, and it has such clarity and everything else. So if you can imagine having a telescope that had 10 to 20 zoom back in 1610, it would be very limiting. And supposedly the problem with what Tony's saying is that Kepler's laws of motion supposedly came out. A lot of websites say 1609, but some of them say 1609 to 1619. So he basically had a couple of years to come up with his laws of motion. But the problem with all that is that where else do we see these supposed planets going around stars in the same vein that we're supposed to be going around? And why would Kepler be looking at them anyway, when it's the sun we're supposed to be going around? So why would he not be, for Tony, why would he not be studying the sun? That makes no sense.
Well, something about that. Tody continues. Kepler brought maths and observations of Mars together to create his ideas. Apparently, you need to read a little more deeply.
Yeah, well, what's the difference? It's like, by him, sorry for cutting in on you. Do you want to continue on? Sorry, before I answer to that.
No, that's
no,
basically
sorry, I'm just going to cut in on you. Now, so, like, if I watch Mars doing something, does that mean that the thing I'm standing on is doing it then? Because that's begging the question, isn't it? That's what they call begging the question. It's like, well, it's like if P then Q, it's that thing again, like Quantum Eraser and Nathan say, if P then Q therefore P. It's like there was no proof we were on a spinning globe, but there was a belief that we were. Not a proof, there was a belief. And Kepler was, yes, a student of Tycho Brahe, and Tycho Brahe believed that that everything went around the globe, and the globe was stationary, but it was a globe, and everything went around us. But Kepler brought in the Copernican model, and then had to use the solar analemma, and get past the solar analemma, and that's where he came up with what if Tony can try and explain using Mars how Kepler explained the solar analemma on standing on this solid Earth here. If Tony can explain that'd be interesting. But it doesn't really matter if he looked at Mars or anywhere else, because we're not on those places. So I really don't see how people saying that Kepler looked at Mars and anywhere else doesn't matter. It's like Kepler could not have been looking at Mars to explain the solar analemma that we see on our Earth, because we're not on Mars.
Okay, so
he has to take all those things into account.
So next question again from Tody. Also asked Brian about the solar day and sidereal day. Has he heard about them? Yeah. The solar day is the sidereal day is 23 hours and 56 minutes, and that's based on the stars. And the solar day is a full 24 hours. The sidereal day is used for astronomy. It's used for astronomy. Of what I remember of it, it's used for astronomy so people can calculate where the stars are even in the daytime. Basically, it's about that. But that doesn't really. I don't know if that really comes into this as much. But I don't know. Okay. I don't see where it fits in too much. Okay, so from Chris Matt, the speed of sunsets depends on what latitude line you are observing the sun from.
The speed of sunrises and sunsets.
Yeah.
But the problem with it is that the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, on the two, this is the problem. That's a question by somebody. Unless I'm getting it wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. He can ask again. On the June solstice, which is 21st of June, and the December solstice, which is 21st of December. The June solstice is supposed to be the longest day in the northern hemisphere, and the December solstice is supposed to be the longest day in the southern hemisphere. Now, on the globe, there's a constant 23.5 degree tilt. So those two dates should make a situation a mirror opposite of each other. So people in the southern hemisphere along the Tropic of Capricorn should have the exact same sunrise and sunset speed on those two dates. And it doesn't really matter. They should have the exact same sunrise and sunrise and sundown speed at any day anyway. Because people are forgetting it's not about what the sun is doing. It's about the fact that we're supposed to be rotating 360 degrees every 24 hours, and that is not possible, right? So you can pick any latitude from the north and its supposed sister latitude in the south, and on the same days of the year, same opposite days of the year, they should have exactly the same sunrise speed. But either way, how does the sunrise speed ever change if we're supposed to be spinning around a full 360 degrees every 24 hours? It's not possible for that to happen. No, sorry.
So from CrowXE, on what basis did he choose the cities for his calculations? Tailored or a specific criteria for all, and why, if there is any?
Well, basically, I wanted places that I knew I could get data for. Basically, it's a bit like his first question. I think it was his first question. I needed places I knew I could get data for. Because the Tropic of Capricorn, for instance, is a difficult place to find two big cities on that are somewhat close together. Whereas, because of the Tropic of Capricorn, people don't seem to realise that after kind of let's just say Sydney, Australia. Sydney is 33 degrees south, 32 or 33 degrees south latitude. Now, that's actually what people call down under. So after Sydney, you go sort of south in Sydney. After Sydney, you're basically talking Tasmania and a few places. If you keep going south, you're basically talking Tasmania and some places in South America. After that you're going to find people living in big groups. The point I'm making is the Tropic of Capricorn is 23.5 degrees south latitude. To find places where I could get constant data for was basically why I chose those. It didn't really matter. I don't care if someone wants to come up with 6 new places that I can get constant data for. All the data I need to find out when that sunrise is going to, their sunrise time on this day, and all the rest of it on this day and this day at this time of year. If I can find all that out for 6 other places, I'm happy to do it again with 600 places. I don't mind.
Okay, so moving on. Next question from Joe Kovacs. Did Brian compare sunrise speed to subsolar point speed?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I know what he's talking about. He's talking about the subsolar point. I did look into subsolar points, and I have been looking at subsolar points. But if I started, to give me a better answer, if I started adding in extra things that would confuse the matter, it was already confusing enough for people. If I add in extra things to confuse the matter, that would make it even worse. The subsolar, for people that may, like most people will know it, but for those who don't know it, the subsolar point is when this, unless I'm getting this completely wrong, I have 2 terms mixed up, but that is when the sun is basically directly overhead. There's a time of the year in Hawaii that it happens, and it looks really strange. If you look at some photographs of the subsolar point over Hawaii, you can see, I think it's in Honolulu, you see stuff on the street and there's no shadows. The sun is directly overhead. It all looks plastic because there's no shadows. It's like the 3D is gone or something.
Okay, so last question in what I've actually got saved. So if anybody's got any more questions, they can start putting them in the chat right now. I'll copy and paste them. But in the meantime, we have one from Gleam. Can you ask Brian to clearly articulate the mile per hour speed at Cancer, the Equator, and the Capricorn, please?
Clearly articulate let me see.
Can you ask Brian to clearly articulate the mile per hour speed at Cancer, equator, and Capricorn.
Right. Okay. So I see. I have 3 different sections here. Let me see. Ba, 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 ba. So is he asking basically just looking to know at those 3 cities, right? I know. I think I know what he's talking about. He can ask the question again if I'm not doing this right. Okay. Okay. So on the June solstice, okay, between Riyadh and Medina, the sunrise speed, okay, between those 2 places on the June solstice over the Tropic of Cancer is 924.827 miles per hour. So it's 924.827 miles per hour is the sunrise speed between Medina and Riyadh on the 21st of June solstice over the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, now they are on the Tropic of Cancer, those 2, or close to the Tropic of Cancer. Now, the sunrise speed, okay, on the both equinoxes are the same. On the equator, okay, between Libreville and Nairobi, okay, the speed is 0.39 miles per hour. So the equinoxes are both the same across the equator. Between Libreville and Nairobi, it's 868.39 miles per hour.
Okay, so Gleamer has actually come back to give you an update on the question. He says it will be something like 800 miles per hour, 1,024 miles per hour, and 1,800 miles per hour.
Is he talking about sunrise speed? Is he talking about sunrise speed on a flat Earth?
Again, I don't know. I can't.
Yeah. See, this is sunrise speed. But see, the thing about it is, I didn't. I just looked to get the data for this. That's what I look for, as opposed to thinking of it as a globe or flat. I just wanted the data. So, but what it shows is a sunrise speed. It slows down from the north to the south. Even though the sun would be going faster, its angle to the Earth is after getting low. So the last one was the sunrise speed on the December 21st solstice would be between Asunción and Curitiba, or Curitiba and Asunción, is 333.191 miles per hour. So the sunrise speed is slowing down. It's fastest, so say on the June solstice, it's faster than across the equator it's fastest on the June solstice across the Tropic of Cancer. It's slower across the equator line on the equinoxes, and it's slower again on the December solstice across the Tropic of Capricorn. What Gleam is talking about is he's talking about sun speeds as opposed to sunrise speeds. That's as part of another presentation I'm going to be doing. But this is sunrise speeds. Rather than thinking whether trying to make it into a globe or make it into a flat Earth, I just used the data to show, and then I explained how it can't work on a globe. It can work on a flat Earth because as the sunrise speed is slowing down. But if you notice, there's only like 56 miles per hour difference or something between the Tropic of Cancer and the equator, but there's a huge difference between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. There's a massive difference. There's nearly 600 miles per hour. And that's because of the angle that the sun is to the Earth, because it's at its lowest point in the sky. In accordance with the analemma, it's at its lowest point in the sky at that time of year.
Okay, good stuff. Right, so whilst I'm waiting for some more questions to come in, I'll just let the audience know that I won't be doing a show this week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I won't be around, so I won't be doing any shows those days. So in the meantime, that will give Nathan a chance to maybe do an extended show, perhaps. Maybe he could do a 3-hour show and take up my time slot. That would be something for him to think about. So we've had George Netanyahu has asked, when can I come on your show and bore everyone to death with my stupid Coriolis nonsense again? Kana's given me some pointers this time. Well, George, it's going to have to be at least next weekend after Bob the Science Guy, because Bob the Science Guy is going to be doing a presentation prior to yours, so yours will be after that. Hang on, let's see. I'm just checking everything. Right, okay, so here we go. So from Peter G, ask how you can get 6 significant figures for speed when the time is only when the time is only hours and minutes. Are the rise time at 00 second on all data points?
I'm not really understanding his question. If he's talking about the data I just got data straight off of Google, time and date, and that when there was sunrise at different places. Could you read that out to me again? I didn't really get all that.
Okay, it may well have been the way I read it because the chat was rolling up, so I kept missing stuff. So ask how you can get 6 significant figures for speed when the time is only hours and minutes. Are the rise time at 00 second on all data points?
I don't understand this question. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I don't know where.
Well, let's move.
It's kind of a tricky question, which kind of.
It's probably a malformed question. Let's hope. Let's hope we can come back and do some. We have another question. We have another question though. So, from Saucy London, why is it colder at the poles than the equator?
Why is it cold? So why is it colder at the poles than the equator?
Yes.
Is that what he's asking?
He did.
Well, it has to be colder it has to be colder in the Arctic and the Antarctic. It has to be. I explain all this in my solar analemma on a flat Earth. I explain why it has to be in my first presentation on Matthews. The Arctic has to melt and has to refreeze every year, and the Antarctic has to stay frozen. Although it does melt up to a point, it has to stay basically frozen. The main reason why it's warmer always at the equator is because the sun goes around the Tropic of Cancer, then around the equator, then around the Tropic of Capricorn, then back over the equator, then back to the Tropic of Cancer. So it's going Cancer, equator, Capricorn, Capricorn, equator, Cancer. Well, he should be, like the Eötvös effect. Is it the Eötvös effect, where things are a different weight, supposedly, at the equator? People should be looking, I won't go into it, I'll be looking into that. And people should be looking into the equator for that, and not be thinking gravity straight away. Because there's things to do with the equator that would make that possible. But if the sun is going from the Tropic of Cancer to the equator to the Tropic of Capricorn, then back from the Tropic of Capricorn, across the equator, and then back to the Tropic of Cancer, the equator is going to be always the hottest part of the world, because the sun is always mostly over the equator.
Okay, so I'm still just waiting for some more questions to pop in. So we shall just wait for that. So is there anything that you want to talk about what your next presentation will be?
Well, yeah, I was working on the whole Sunspeeds, but I'm working on that from I'm going to put like a pre-assumed flat Earth, but I'll have some information to go with it and some things I found out that will bolster what I'm saying. So it won't be just a big pre-assumption of belief. I'll have some stuff there that people won't be able to kind of just dismiss it. Basically, people are reading the latitude and longitude lines wrong. When it comes to a flat Earth, you can't read them like you read the globe. You can't read them that way. You have to read them different. And when you read them different, they make a lot more sense on a flat Earth, basically. So that's going to be part of it too. Inner Earth is going to be part of it as well. That's something that people, Inner Earth, people heard about Middle Earth and Inner Earth. That's going to be part of it too. So people will probably think that's crazy. It's like Lord of the Rings stuff, but it's not so crazy.
Okay, so we have 3 questions coming one after the other. So I think I'll start with Saucy London, because that was her last question, which was about colder in the Arctic than the equator. So in the summer in Oslo, Norway gets 19 hours of daylight, but is still colder than the equator.
Yeah, because it's close to the Arctic Circle. It's going to be.
Okay.
The equator is going to be warmer because the sun is only ever going as far as the Tropic of Cancer. You see, and the reason you get 19 hours of daylight, the reason you get so much daylight is because of the height of the sun in the sky at that time of year, and the fact that it moves slower at a slowest rate. at that time of year around the Tropic of Cancer. If you can picture that, if the person who asked if they can picture a flat Earth, then the Tropic of Cancer is smaller than the equator, and the equator is smaller than the Tropic of Capricorn. And the Tropic of Cancer has the sun at its highest point in the sky, and this is not just me saying this. This is the solar analemma, at highest point in the sky, and it moves around at its slowest rate. And both of those things are shown by the solar analemma, that it does at that time of year. The sun moves at its slowest rate in the sky, and it's at its highest in the sky, and that's why you get so much daylight. But you have to remember, its height in the sky and the fact that it's making such a tight circle around that part of the Earth gives you the daylight. But you have to remember your distance from where the sun is circling. It's 23.5 degrees. How far up is Oslo? I'm at 52 degrees in Waterford, Ireland. So Oslo is, I don't know how far up that would be. Oslo could be 60 degrees north or something like that. So yes, you're getting a lot of daylight at that time of year, but you won't get the heat because technically the equator is still closer to the sun than Oslo, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Right, okay, so from Joe Kovacs, he's going back to an earlier question. So the difference in elevation between Nairobi, about 5,000 feet, and Libreville, about sea level, seems a pretty big factor for sunrise visibility.
Well, it depends. It's like it's coming from the sun is coming from the east to the west. So it's coming from. Let's go down a sec. Down to the. Sorry, up a bit. See this. Yeah. So, but see, the thing about that is that the sun. Yeah. The height is a little bit different, but look at the distance between the two places. 2,166 miles in distance. I mean, could you read that out again to me, just if you don't mind, Randy? Sorry. What he said.
Yeah, I'm just getting it up now. So the difference the difference in elevation between Nairobi, which is about 5,000 feet, and Libreville is about sea level. So that seems a pretty big factor for sunrise visibility.
Yeah, but Libreville Libreville is gets the sunrise first. I think Libreville is east and Nairobi is west, or is it the other way around? I can't remember which way it is. But like the sun, like I don't really see what the problem is. If the sunrise speeds is connected to, if he wants to pick a different two places, I'll do the same calculations for him for those two places. I'll even do them here live. Like the thing about it is that I do it here live. I don't mind. Like the thing about it is that the sunrise speed on the globe model is based around the fact that the globe was supposed to be spinning 360 degrees every 24 hours. That's the problem. So even if there's elevation differences, I mean, it's supposed to be the same sun at the same day of the year, at the same height in the sky, the same place in the sky. That's giving people the sunrise. But that's more on a flat Earth. On a globe Earth, it's the spin of the Earth that's supposed to be doing it. And how does elevation differences create a 600 mile an hour difference between the June solstice and December solstice? So yeah, elevation could come into it, and you could find places that if you really wanted to really get technical about it, like what people can do is they can critique the hell out of what I put forward here, but it'll only prove what I put forward here even more. That's what always happens.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask two more questions and I'm gonna round up. So I've got the two questions ready. So if anybody asks a question now, I'm not going to get those questions out. So the first, I'm going to ask Peter G's one in a minute because that one will take a little bit longer. But from Chris Matt, the latitude lines are 360-degree rings expanding from the North Pole according to the flat Earth model.
Yes, the latitude lines are. That's coming straight from the centre out the way. That's correct.
Okay, so from Peter G. So this is going back to his earlier question that was a bit of a malformed question. So here we go. The speed is, for example, 333 miles per hour, but the input data, actually it should be 333.191, so that's 6 digits, the input data, if you only have time in in only minute endurance, the rise time data is plus or minus 30 seconds. So the speed uncertainty is more than 0.001 miles per hour.
I don't understand where he's coming from.
Well, it's the...
how does that make up the 600 miles per hour basically?
Well, it's the... Well, yeah, I understand
that's
that
point.
Yeah, I understand that point. That's a pretty much of a nail in the coffin there. But what he's detailing here is that these minuscule dots, these extra points, 333.191, so it's a full 6-digit number. If it's plus or minus 30 seconds, then the uncertainty is going to be greater than the 0.01 miles per hour, so the 3 extra digits on the end. So you can round it up to 3 digits, but when you start including it into 6, but you've got a plus or minus of 30 seconds, that's going to make a big difference for the decimal points after.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just use what I got. Maybe it's not about the numerology section. I might be referring to that also. I just used what I got. And yeah, there could be small differences here and there. I mean, there could be it's like the elevation. There's a lot of things that could make small differences. But the main problem is that I go back to it again. How do you have a globe that's supposed to be spinning 360 degrees every 24 hours consistently, have different sunrise speeds at 2 mirror opposite times of the year? That's why I use the 2 solstices. So yeah, it can be critiqued. Absolutely, you can find different places. You can find places maybe that might be slightly closer to the Tropic of Capricorn or slightly closer to the Tropic of Cancer. But you can critique it, no bothers. But I just don't see how you're going to, how anyone can explain. Like, I mean, I'm open to suggestion, but how can they explain a 600 mile an hour difference in sunrise speed between the two solstices? That sounds bad with my accent, solstices. but yeah, it does. The June solstice and the December solstice, they are almost 600 miles an hour of a difference. Now, you could critique it, so you bring that down a bit. You could do that. But either way, it doesn't matter, because you could critique it and it could get even more as well. Like the problem is that we have an Earth that we're told since we're born that spins around every 360 degrees every 24 hours. And that is not possible on that Earth.
Okay, so I was waiting for Professor Phil Bell to put a different question in. It was a malformed question, but I'll ask it anyway. Maybe you'll understand it. I certainly don't. So from Professor Phil Bell, who debated Sleeping Warrior, please ask him what he thinks the circumference of FE over Australia.
The circumference of FE, the circumference of flat Earth.
Yeah, please ask him what he thinks the circumference of FE over Australia.
Right. Yeah, a second.
I mean, I just don't understand that question.
This is I know. See, he actually. I'm going to open up the calculator now, just live. He actually tipped on something in his thing with Anthony that he then kind of ran away from, and something that confused him that he didn't know what to make of. And this is going to be part of another presentation I'm making. Okay, because I was looking at this ages ago. This, but there's more than just that. But for instance, if Sydney is 33 degrees, okay, 33 degrees south latitude, then from the very center, from the North Pole, okay, to the equator, right, is 90 degrees, okay, and another 33 on top of that is 123 degrees. So if we go 123, okay, multiplied by 69 miles equals 8,487. So from the North Pole, Sydney should be 8,487 miles away. Okay? Now we multiply that by 2 for a circumference, or sorry, a diameter, and we get 16,974. That's a diameter. But this is the problem, right?
Well, Professor Phil Bell's come up with an answer to the question, which He says, in fact, it's 82,000 kilometres. So again, I don't know whether we're on the right track with what his question even meant.
Yeah, it could be, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to multiply this by pi, 3.14. So multiply by 3.14 equals 53,000. So I just did that again in case I think I hit the wrong thing there. So we have 123, okay, multiplied by 69 miles, and then multiply that by 2 for diameter. Right, so that's a radius. There's our diameter. Now multiply that by 3.14 equals 50. I was right the first time. 53,298.36 miles would be the circumference if we use that way of gaining circumference. The problem is,
well, he says it's two times pi times r.
Well, look, his maths might be a little bit. I'm just using very basic ways. This is the most basic way anyone can do of finding the circumference of a circle. You get a radius from the center to where you want to go. You double that for diameter.
So you're doing yours in miles, aren't you? He's done his in kilometers.
He did his in kilometers. Yeah,
makes sense.
So, so I don't know unless he has another way of doing the circumference of a circle. This is the basics of a circumference of a circle, right? So technically, there should be a 53,298 mile circumference around the 33 degrees south latitude. Now, people laugh at that, right? But this is a problem. I'm trying to show everyone something, right? 90, right? That's 90 degrees multiplied by 69 miles, right? Equals 6210. Everyone will agree, they say, hey, that's the radius, right? That's the radius of the globe, right? Multiply that by 2 for circumference, or for diameter. And we get 5,420. And everyone goes, that's great, right? But then they come up with 24,900 plus. For a start, it can't be 24,900 plus. And I'll show you why. First of all, I'm going to do this with multiply that by 3.14 equals 38,998.8. So technically, using that method to get a circumference, which is the method that I think engineers use and people, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is the method. I've looked online, I can't find any other method that's the go-to method for getting the circumference. So technically, the equator is 38,998.8 miles. That has nothing to do with whether it's a flat earth or globe earth, right? That's the equator, right? If I want to, I'll just show everyone. Basically, I'll show everyone something. I'm going to divide this, right, by 1.564, right, 24935.294, right. That's basically what you have to do with all your calculations, right. To get the circumference of the equator that we're told, I have to divide that by 1.564. I devised that 1.564 myself, okay, to get that circumference. So now this is the problem. I'm going to ask it now. What I had up there was the 38,998 miles circumference of an equator. Now, is that correct, or is this correct? 24,935 miles, 0.294. Is that the correct equator? Or is it, right, 360, right? Is it, 360, multiplied by 69, right, equals 24,840. Because it'd be 69 miles every degree. 360 miles, or 360 degrees by 69 miles would be 24,840. So which one is correct? Which is the correct one? Which is the real equator distance? And watch this. If I let me see. Right. Let's say we go 180. So that would be from the very center, the North Pole, right out to the 180th degree.
Can I just say that George Netanix just said, my brain is filled with enough of this. Later, enjoy the show. It's filled with what? You proving that the equator isn't the right size.
Yeah,
It's possibly
there's some
the reason.
yeah. So like if we go straight out, watch this. We go straight out from the center to 188 degree, right? I multiply that by 69 miles, right? We get 12,420, which is the diameter that we would have got, which is the diameter that's now a radius, and would be the diameter of the of the equator, I suppose, right? Which is okay. But then we multiply this by 3.14 equals 30. Go back. I'm after doing that wrong. Sorry. So 180, okay, multiplied by 69, okay, equals 12.41. Then I multiply that by 2, right, to get a diameter, right. Then we get the 24840 again, which would be the 360 degrees multiplied by 69 miles. So that's what we get a diameter straight across of that. Now, if we multiply that by 3.14, we get 77,997.6 miles. So, if this is correct, then this, like, obviously it is a correct way to get a circumference. Then, is that the actual size of the flat Earth in degrees if we're talking about latitude lines? Because 38,998 is, if we did the same calculation for the equator at night, if we just divide that by 2, we get 38,998.8. So what is the correct equator? You know, what is there's 3 different numbers, and if I want to use like if I divide that by 1.564, right, we get this number, right? Now, 1 second, that's like 24,935.294. Now, people, in my next, what I'm going to use numerology in my next presentation, I'm going to use this number, and some of the stuff I'm going to deal with it is going to be very strange. It's a very strange number, but that's for a future presentation.
Okay, well, I want to try and wrap this one up if I can. Is there anyone? Your channel name, Brian's Logic? Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't have much on it. I didn't put up anything for a good while. I used to put up, but I should really start putting up some videos and some content. I just end up making content to do a presentation with, as opposed to a video with. So it's there if anyone wants to subscribe. I think I have like 25 subscribers or something.
Okay, I'll put the link in the description later on. Okay, well, Brian, thanks very much for stopping by and doing your presentation. I do appreciate it. We've been going a while.
Yeah, big time.
These ones always seem to go long.
Yeah, definitely. I do a lot of talking, but sometimes that's just the way it is when you have a lot of stuff to cover. It's just the way it is, I suppose. But hopefully it was a success for you, and hopefully people got something out of it. And I surely have some people who will like it and will understand some parts, and other people won't like it. You know, so.
Sure, and I'm sure that the data will be scrutinised. Obviously, I imagine there's going to be quite a lot of complaints about the elevation and of the altitudes of the cities that you chose, maybe. You know, I'm sure that's going to pop up, and whether or not there can be a good response for that, who knows? But the main crux of it is that you're analysing these big differences, yeah. Yeah.
Well, look, if people want to critique it and even take different cities and do those, they're welcome to do it. The problem is, how do you make up the 600 mile an hour difference? Because if you take all those things into account, if people want to take elevation into account of different things, I understand that. But the Earth is supposed to spin 360 degrees every 24 hours. So if there's a sunrise difference, then that's a major problem. A sunrise speed difference, then that's a major problem for the globe. But on top of that, you have to look at what Kepler's laws are, and the fact that Kepler's laws have Newtonian gravity inserted into them, when Newtonian gravity is not the current gravity, it's Einsteinian gravity, which debunks a lot of what they say about Kepler's laws, and obviously it debunks Cavendish and Henry Cavendish and John Michel. It debunks them too, obviously. But does the fact that we have different sunrise speeds at two complete mirror opposite days of the year, does that debunk all of it? I don't know. So.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Brian. As I said, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for putting all that effort into your presentation. I do appreciate it. I'm sure all the audience appreciated it too. Excellent presentation. Maybe if you could send me that PowerPoint as well, presentation that you've done, I could upload it to my Google Drive, and if anybody wants that particular document to go through, they can email me and I will send it to them, so then they can go through it and corroborate it or pull it apart, whichever. Either that or just watch it back on the stream, because all the data's there anyway. So thanks, Brian. What's your channel name? His channel name is Brian's Logic. Maybe you should say something in the chat and people can just click the three little dots to the side of your name, and then they can follow that to your channel. Right, okay, so that'll do for me. As I say, I'm not going to be doing any more of these shows now until at least probably Friday or Saturday. So that gives you a week off, virtually a week off, so you can go and enjoy life, have beers down the pub, instead of having to sit in and listening to this. Right, okay, 1 o'clock. Thanks very much. Appreciate Martin Liedtke stopping by as well. So if you've got a chance to watch the stream back again at the very start, you'll listen to Martin Liedtke and what he had to say about his new channel. I might be able to bring that up actually. There we go. So there's his new channel. I'll just copy and paste that. I'll copy that, paste that into the chat right now. So if you guys ever feel that you want to go over there and listen to his juice, as he says, it's his juice, click the link and go ahead and subscribe. Let's just refresh it and just see how many he did have. He had 271. Let's see if he's increased any. Oh, 356. Wow. A massive jump. That's excellent. I'll just have a quick search for yours as well, actually, Brian, whilst I'm here.
Yeah, I actually don't know what's up Brian was at.
Brian's Logic. There we go, here we go. So I'll get your link up. I'll pop this over here for the guys in the audience to see.
Thank
you. There we go, Brian's Logic. So I'll copy and put that in too, so that everyone can follow that and go ahead and subscribe to you if they enjoyed what you had to say.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and that'll do. Thanks very much. Appreciate everyone stopping by. Brian, if you want to stay on the call, I'll round up the show and we'll have a little chat afterwards, and then I'll get to bed. So I'll see you all next Friday, hopefully. If it's not next Friday, it'll be next Saturday. And yeah, just be nice to each other. We're all here for the truth at the end of the day. You know, try and avoid all the arguments that go on and the baiting and the name calling and stuff. It's not really something we should really get into. Let's face it, we should be adults here. We should be better than this, you know. We're all trying to find our own way. So, in the meantime, that'll do for me. Thanks very much for stopping by, and I'll see you all in the next one.